Well, you know what?
Terry Ford's taking you the rest of the way, kids.
Here's the thing, ready? According to research, the average listener gives you up to 3 seconds of music before they turn the station.
Research? What the hell is that?
We frown upon that here.
Research? That's like people doing work. That sounds terrible.
I didn't say we did the research, but others did the research.
Yeah, I can't verify that. Anonymous sources?
Yes, sources say.
You know what that is?
Sources close to the subject say, yes.
We'll get you the latest. No guests today other than us and you, of course. We welcome you aboard. And if you have, we got a lot to weigh in on. Still more, I don't know what the word is anymore. I saw our friend Lauren Beasley yesterday. She was funny. She was like, morning update. Maybe it's this guy. Midday update. A lot going on. Afternoon update. We're not really sure.
That is funny.
And then it just kind of cycles itself through. So, Lauren, if you're listening, you're not wrong. None of us know at this point what's happening when it comes to the Gamecock baseball surge. But it does feel, and look, I know you could say on the one hand, in a literal sense, well, of course it's getting closer to finality because it's another day. And in that respect, yes. But it does feel a little different today. And that maybe a new name, as I said on Twitter, has entered the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Not certain about how far that one will go. It does feel like Jeremiah Donati is checking boxes, dotting I's, crossing T's, maybe with some coaches that are still coaching.
As you should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like we said on yesterday's show, if those men have interest in your job, then, I think you do right by your program and your school to at least, make sure. And if you need to speak with them once they're done coaching and it takes a little while, so be it. If
right.
On the other hand, you have your guy and that you love your guy and your guy loves you and everybody's ready to go, then I think, boom, you go do it.
Time to roll. Mm-hmm.
So, exactly where are we? Difficult to say, but we'll get into some details on what appears to at least be a little bit of clarity, and there's an update that's out there from our good friend David Cloninger. And I want to, before I go any farther into what DC said, I'm going to pull it up so that I can have it right verbatim, if you will. Mm-hmm. I want to do that. So we'll get that in just a second. So just sit tight for me while we continue to do that. Beyond that, we'll get into a few things around Gamecock football. The Athletic seems high on South Carolina, and yet there are some who also at the same time would say of South Carolina, Shane's on the hot seat.
Yes.
And
some think he might be on the hottest of hot seats.
Yeah, and how you measure that is interesting, I think, sometimes too. Like what would he have to do?
Right.
In order to,
Right, and it's always, and you and I have this conversation, and it's one of your go-tos always is how do you win, how do you lose, who do you beat, who do you lose to?
Right.
Let's go a little bit deeper. If you have a certain record, okay, let's take a look at the bigger picture of your record. I think that would have to do with some things too on at the end of the season, where are you at?
Right.
So
you
got it?
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into some more reaction on the national scene with the big hearing over 3 hours in D.C. yesterday in front of the Senate Commerce Committee on the bill to save college sports.
Sounds so dramatic.
Yeah, but there's a couple of interesting things in there that I think are worth our time, and we'll touch on those. Okay, so our good friend David Cloninger has put this out within the last 20, 30 minutes or so. I want to read it verbatim so that everybody gets the same clarity. South Carolina officials and Coastal Carolina coach Kevin Schnall talked on Wednesday and were set to talk again on Thursday. Sources close to the situation confirmed to the Post and Courier on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So meetings, plural.
Back to back.
Yeah. Now, exactly when, where, all that kind of stuff, I don't even know if that really matters. As long as you're talking,
well,
right? On the phone, via Zoom.
Think it was
at the Golden Corral,
like Sean Miller a few years ago?
No, it's probably not.
A little different than the Sean Miller.
Probably not going to be in public.
You don't think?
I'm going to go. It's not in public. Now, also today, and this is in David's story, Gianna Forbes of WBTW in Myrtle Beach interviewed Chance Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And according to her, Miller said, and now I'll read again verbatim from David's piece that, again, just came out about a half hour ago. Miller said that he and Schnall were talking Thursday morning about roster reconstruction for next season and how to get the Chanticleers back to Omaha, where they finished national runner-up in 2025. Quote, I can tell you this. I'm not planning on Kevin Schnall leaving. I'm planning on Kevin Schnall being the coach for a long time, Miller said, according to Forbes. That interview, by the way, is going to run on WBTW down on the Grand Strand in PD at 4 o'clock. That's basically the extent of what's in there for now. So, again, David Cloninger confirming that one meeting has taken place and another is expected, again, set to talk again
Run
on
Chance's quote, according to the Myrtle Beach TV guy, real quick.
Girl, female, Gianna.
Okay.
Quote, I can tell you this. I'm not planning on Kevin Schnall leaving. I'm planning on Kevin Schnall being the coach for a long time.
Okay.
End quote.
I mean, look, what's Chance supposed to say? You mean that's what you want? That's what you plan for? And whether you know anything besides that doesn't matter. Your public face is, we plan on this guy being the coach.
Yeah.
Makes sense. 2 meetings in 2 days, though,
It's
Jay.
the flip side to the dreaded, he is our coach.
Right, exactly. Which, that way you go, ooh. Oh. It's like saying,
Statement of fact.
ready? She is my wife.
Yes, statement of fact. Never mind the divorce proceedings.
She is my wife.
Until the judge signs
It's
it.
that gavel. I mean, the back-to-back meetings, according to sources, and David's sources are very good. Back-to-back meetings feels like that says progress. If you have one, there's no progress. Typically, you don't have a second one. Why waste your time on a second one unless the first one had something?
I don't disagree with you. And now, if you want me to play devil's advocate, I would tell you that a second meeting could simply be to continue discussion.
Could be.
Or to maybe come back to something that is of major concern.
I just feel like if
but I don't disagree with you in theory.
I feel like you're not having the second one unless it's worth it. Because none of us have that second meeting to say
that's
goodbye.
Fair. No, that's
right?
fair. That's fair. And I agree with you. It's I would certainly lean heavily toward progress relative to just a follow-up.
What shape progress is again, fluid. I'm not saying it's because they're hammering out a deal. I'm saying, obviously, the first meeting was good enough to warrant the second. Now, is the second going to lead to an offer? Might not. We've all heard stories of, the guy being the guy. We've heard stories about the perceived guy. The more they dig into each other, they find out they're not a good fit.
Right.
So you never know. It always depends on, how everything progresses. And sometimes one thing we never, ever think about is that maybe the athletic director and the candidate start talking to each other, and one in the back of their head goes, the more I talk about this, the less I want to do this.
Right.
It happens. I mean, have you ever...
I think that's part of it. I mean, I think that's part of the interview.
You get to know.
And
you want to feel like this. I can work with that guy.
Right.
When it's certain, you don't know. Look, you really don't know anyone until you're there in the trenches every day. But you want to feel that's a good vibe when you walk out. I got a good vibe on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think I feel good about this. This feels like the type of person that we can really do some damage together, right? And that's what you're trying to get. And look, we've all been on interviews where you've sat there, you go in hopeful, and either in that first interview you're going, maybe not, or things felt good or good-ish, and then you go in for the second one and you start going, deeper in the weeds I get here, I don't know. and you end up deciding, this might not be it. Either side.
Well, that's when they say they come back at you. And, you'll have to shine the boss's shoes every Friday.
Yeah, I don't think that's really going to work for me, but thank you. I mean, I've been to those where it's either the first or second interview where you're going, you know what? I don't think this is really in my best interest. I thought it was. Yeah. Now I don't. And I'm sure I probably interviewed people, they looked at me and said, that guy's not in my best interest. Right. So, I mean, this is the part of the thing where it gets about those kind of peripherals that we don't talk about enough. Because, look, you can walk out of a meeting, prospective boss, prospective employer, and just go, nah. And because of something like you said, something said like, shine the boss's shoes, get his dry cleaning. By the way, you got to pick up his kid from preschool. And you're going, no, I'm not. Or the flip side is you're going to hire a guy. I need 3 hours of midday yoga. Okay. Or whatever, you just, sometimes these are things that we never think about that can sidetrack stuff. But
2 hours of yoga is plenty, by the way.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you don't
downward
need
dog, some Bikram. You ever done yoga?
Yeah, a little bit.
I did.
I should do more probably. Apparently, it's really good for you.
Yeah,
Langston's big into it.
Yeah, I can see there's a lot of ex-players and current players, athletes who swear by yoga, Pilates.
Yeah.
I gave it a whirl once. A girl I was going out with dragged me out to some yoga. Uh-huh. I thought I was doing okay, right? I'm sitting there doing it. I'm feeling pretty good. And after it's over, and she says to me, she's like, so what'd you say? I go, that's pretty easy. That's pretty cool. She goes, all right, do that one thing. I go, what is it? Get like this. Okay, now move your foot half a centimeter. Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. And that was, when she did that, I realized that yoga could be actually painful.
Yeah,
it was my one shot at yoga.
Well, okay. Well, you should try to give it another one. I'm gonna. That's something I'm looking into. We'll see. All right. So there's the update on Kevin Schnall. As I said, though, we'll take a timeout. Come back on the other side. Another name that was unexpected has entered the chat based on some intel from our buddy John Whittle and others that have been reporting on this. So, how serious might it be?
Because it's an interesting name.
I didn't see this one coming.
No, you and I, in the beginning, when this first happened, someone had him on a big, gigantic hot board.
Well, when you have like 20 names.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then his name just disappeared.
Right. Because, but it's back. So we'll tell you who that is and how heavy the interest level may be, at least from our perspective, when the postgame show returns. Integrated Media is ready to change your life for the better when it comes to home entertainment, home security, and so much more. I love what Integrated Media has done for the Phillipses. I am asked repeatedly, and I don't mind saying this, Jay, do you really feel that way about them? Do you really use their products, or are you just saying that stuff on the radio? No. No, I have been a very happy Integrated Media customer for well over a decade. Actually, gosh, I mean, probably 16, 17 years now. But 8 years ago, in fact, I was talking about this with Integrated yesterday. 8 years ago is when we remodeled our house entirely and went down to the studs in some places and got our speaker systems put in and all the wiring redone through Integrated Media, and really went whole hog when it comes to the home theater system. And I'm happier than I've ever been. All these years later, I assure you. So if you're ready for the latest and greatest in home theater, 803-948-8327. Do what I've done. Call Integrated Media. Welcome back in. Postgame show rolling on here on a Thursday. Jay and Terry, starting to get hot, man. It's not so bad. It's 88.
It's not bad.
That's not terrible.
Come on. Well, you didn't grow up around here like I did. You're not used to this.
You can be from here and still sometimes just like, ugh, not used to it.
I'll tell you, man, I'll take this over the cold any day. I'm good.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
I'm good. I can't stand the cold.
No, I don't like cold. I mean, if you say, would I rather have like a lot of 90s or a lot of 40s?
No,
I don't know at that
90s.
point.
Man, I can't stand the 40s. Well, you're a sweaty dude. I'm a dude like that.
But now once it gets under a certain number, then yeah, I don't like that. Then it's just cold, and I'd much rather have the hot.
You would, sir, enjoy Seattle. Never gets too hot.
But it rains a lot.
Cold.
It rains a lot.
My first year there, it didn't rain much. Second year, I had to build an ark.
Okay.
One of those deals.
Yeah, I don't like the rain either, man.
You're kind of a diva.
Well,
you're a weather diva over there.
The thing is, Columbia, for the most part, other than the heat, we don't have a whole lot to worry about. We do get let's be honest, we get and I'm being kind of serious, we get the occasional hurricane. And those are not fun. No. I never would have imagined the flood. And I was a lifer, and I just never thought that could happen here, but it did.
Right.
So, yeah, thunderstorms I don't like too much. When I was a kid one time, I tell this story. I'm not, like, scared of the lightning, right? But when I was a kid, and again, if you're old enough, or, we used to have the afternoon paper, like a lot of cities.
Oh, yeah, two papers a day. I remember that.
And the old Columbia Record. And I remember one day, big thunderstorm. I had just gotten home from school. It was spring. I don't, can't tell you the date. And the paper came. And again, I mean, big thunder. It is coming down, right? Coming down. Mm-hmm. And my mom had me go out and get the afternoon paper. And, of course, they put them in the little plastic bag on the days that it's raining. Well, our yard back then was our front yard was probably from the front door to the edge of the street where the paper was dropped every afternoon, probably 25 yards or so. Mm-hmm. And so I'm running in the rain, right? To get out there. Dude, the second that I pick the newspaper up, lightning strikes a pine tree in my next door neighbor's yard about, say, 15 yards from where I am. Bro. And I was like 10, 9, 10. Uh-huh. I don't know that I've ever been more directly frightened in my entire life. It was the most surreal experience I think I've ever had, at least in terms of nature. Mm-hmm. And like a week later, they're having the tree cut down because the tree, I mean, dude, it nailed that tree. And it was dead. Gone. Mm-hmm. And that for a little bit. That kind of freaked me out.
Yeah, freak you out.
But it was, I mean, it popped right out.
Oh, God, that'd be crazy.
And it was a weird, like, thing in the air, and you could just feel, and then, so if you thought I was running to get the paper.
We just saw you hauling back.
Carl Lewis is like, damn.
Baby, right. You're right.
Look at that little boy go.
Run, Jay, run.
Dude, I'll never forget that.
I remember my brother wrapped me up in an aluminum foil jacket, made me stand outside in a thunderstorm when I was a kid. No, I was working at a radio station once. It was my first gig in West Virginia, and we were up on a hill. The old school radio station's up on the hills.
Yeah.
And we had a thunderstorm, and the lightning hit the window, and it was like almost like trying to get in the studio window, and it's like popping back and forth. I'm sitting in the studio going, "That's the wildest looking thing I've ever seen." It was just like the lightning was like beating on the window, like let me in, so I can strike you." It was so bizarre because the lightning just was bouncing off the window. Very strange. I was like that close to it, but I just was like not like being 15 yards from a tree getting hit.
No, it's,
I won't lie to you. The young version of me might have soiled myself.
I thank God I didn't, although the rain may have washed it away before I had a chance to realize what had happened. But no, I'll never forget that. But anyway, all right. We told you, again, just if you've tuned in during the commercial break, our good friend David Cloninger reporting within the hour that South Carolina officials and Coastal Carolina head coach Kevin Schnall spoke yesterday and are set to meet again today. Again, he says in David's words, set to talk again on Thursday. Sources close to the situation confirmed to the Post and Courier. All right, so that's what we've got. But we told you that again, another interesting name has popped up, and let me just be clear about how I feel about this next guy I'm going to mention, and it's John Whittle. When John Whittle says things about the Gamecock baseball program, I pay as much attention as I possibly can.
Oh, absolutely.
Period. End of story. All right, that's how great John is at covering this program, and John has put out there, and he's not alone. But I'm reading from John's piece here at Gamecocks 247 that North Carolina head coach Scott Forbes is now considered a candidate for the South Carolina job. This is very interesting to me. Now, Scott's already been to the World Series. They're hosting the Supers this weekend. They were a national seed again. They're 2 wins away from 50 this year. He is a fantastic coach. North Carolina is a great baseball job. And again, he is just a couple of wins away from his second visit to the College World Series. But like Kevin Schnall, now Scott Forbes didn't play at Chapel Hill, but he has been an assistant coach under Coach Fox, and now has been the head man, for a total of more than 20 years. And he was at Winthrop before that, so he knows the area very well.
Scott Forbes is really, really
He's an excellent coach.
He's
an excellent coach. So let me just read verbatim here. Again, I'm doing that today. Typically, I would try to paraphrase, but because these things are so detailed, and this is just information people want, so I give full credit here to John Whittle, Gamecocks 247. Forbes was on the initial list of names to know, but let's not bury the lead and go ahead and acknowledge that it's going to take a lot, that's his words, for him to leave North Carolina. He coached a long time at UNC as an assistant before taking over in 2021 when Mike Fox retired. Forbes also agreed to a contract extension earlier this year, but I don't know if it's been signed yet. Again, those are John's words. That being said, John Whittle continued, South Carolina puts much more into the baseball program from a resource standpoint, and that could be very attractive to the leader of the Tar Heels. Forbes' team is still alive in the NCAA tournament and does have the inside track to make it back to Omaha this year. It's a name still at least somewhat worth tracking because he fits the mold of what athletics director Jeremiah Donati would look for in his first big hire at South Carolina. So I would agree completely with John that it would take a lot. And it would probably be even more difficult when you talk about someone that has those deep-rooted ties. And at this point, I would almost say that it doesn't even matter all that much that Kevin Schnall played at Coastal relative to Scott Forbes not playing at North Carolina. But you've been there over 2 decades. So you just, you've raised your family there. And again, he did, agree to an extension back in March. It was almost as if, then, considering that South Carolina had let go of Paul Maneri about a week and a half prior, that maybe, the administration in Chapel Hill was like, well, let's lock our guy up. Right. And, hey, let's, and maybe, Terry, it's one of those memorandums of understanding, and once the season's over, we'll sit down and we'll hammer all the details out, and away we go. So I'm with John Whittle. I think that's a long shot, but is there genuine interest? And if there is, that's more than a set of tires you go kick. You take a test drive.
I'm test driving. And when I'm test driving, I'm working the AC to make sure it works. How's the stereo?
Maybe like that Seinfeld where Kramer, take a right here, Mr. Kramer. No. I got to see if this thing's going to go.
That's right. I mean, this is a guy. Again, is it a long shot? But you know what? How many shots do you make, Jay? You don't take
none.
If you, and this is no offense to anyone else on this list, no offense. If you could get this guy. You get this guy. You certainly at least see what's up. Again, I keep coming back to this about Kevin Schnall, who has seemingly been the leader in the. This is like a golfer that goes out. Like Kevin Schnall is a guy that shot a 58, and now all these other golfers are still coming through, right? Oh, there's a good guy. Oh, he's good. He's good. And somehow, and so the point I make there to not make an apples to apples analogy is.
if Kevin Schnall's the guy, then that's terrific. But when these other guys are out there, you gotta at least see what's up.
Look, again, I'll say this. If you ask me, hey, Tara, do you think South Carolina gets Scott Forbes? No. If you just ask me.
Right.
But I'll say this. If you could, I'm looking at this. Look, Mike Fox was a good head coach.
He was.
Let's not sit here and act like, Scott Forbes took over some JUCO. But Forbes at North Carolina, 3 Supers and a World Series.
Mm-hmm.
He's never missed the NCAA
Are you counting this year as a Super too? Okay.
Yeah. Never missed the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Since he's been, even the first year was 28 and 27, 18 and 18, they got in.
Yeah.
So he's never missed it. He's never missed a dance, including this year, 3 Supers. He's been to the College World Series. Good chance to get back again this year.
We'll continue the discussion on the other side about this. And again, if you guys want to weigh in, but interesting stuff. And John has one other name to pay attention to that we'll discuss as the postgame show rolls on. Been telling you for years about our good friends at Cato's Power Equipment, the best place across the Midlands to get everything you need when it comes to keeping the yard looking great, whether you do it for yourself, whether you do it for a living. Well, let's say now that you've already bought that equipment, right? Time to take care of it. The Cato's Care Plan is ready to help you protect that investment and maximize your time with preventive maintenance, scheduled services that'll keep your equipment in peak condition and make sure that breakdowns don't happen, especially if you're a professional, because that's going to cost you time and money. Priority services for members, they get fast-tracked for scheduling all year long. Big-time discounts. You can save on parts. You can save on labor, things that are exclusive to the Cato's Care Plan Club-only members. And extended equipment life. If you take care of it, it's going to last longer. That's going to help you out. And the peace of mind of knowing that you've got the great team at Cato's behind you. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard. Learn more at catospowerequipment.com. 25 minutes in front of 4 o'clock here on a Thursday afternoon. Welcome back into the postgame show. Jay and Terry with you. Appreciate you being with us, discussing the latest around the Gamecock baseball search. Once again, let me give you the developing story from our good friend David Cloninger. South Carolina officials and Coastal Carolina's Kevin Schnall did speak yesterday, David reports. And he also reports that they are scheduled to meet again today, or potentially have. He says he confirmed that earlier. So in terms of details of, when, where, what, all that kind of stuff, don't know. And again, I think Kevin Schnall, like we said, has been the leader in the clubhouse, to keep using that term, arguably from day one, for all the right reasons. For all the right reasons. But it's just interesting that here in the last day or so, John Whittle, Jack Veltri, Jamie Bradford, David Cloninger, all throwing out there that Scott Forbes of North Carolina has become a candidate. Now, again, as John Whittle reported, it's going to take a lot to get a guy like that. And it's not that you can't offer it.
Right.
I think just like we said, even with Kevin Schnall, Terry, I'll be honest with you. Look, at some point, the numbers do matter. Don't get me wrong here. But there seems to be no question with any conversation that I've had with any of these people or others that I have spoken with, on air, off air, whatever. There's not been one inkling of indication that South Carolina isn't prepared to do even more than it's already doing for the baseball program,
right?
Which is already a top 10 budget in the country, which again makes the failures of the last two seasons just so hard to fathom. How in God's name do you take a top 10 budget and turn it into the two worst seasons in the history of the program? Top 10 national budget, by the way, not top 10 SEC budget.
7th in the country in operational budget. And
you had the two worst years in the program's history.
It's just, look, I know we've moved forward from it, but yeah, you look back and you go, that's almost like you did that on purpose.
I had somebody say you have to try real hard to fail that bad.
It's almost like, ready, okay, you be Ray Tanner and I'll be Paul Maneri, and you ask me my goals. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, how you feel about the season? What you want to do?
I feel like we need to have the worst season in the history of the program, right? I mean, I just feel like, how do you do this?
Talk about an interview process.
I mean, how do you do this? To your point.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know what it's like? It's like you, because this model is something that the LA Angels use, right? I mean, or the Arizona Cardinals, or someone where it's like, how are you going to crater this thing? The Angels always had a ton of money and spent a lot of money and always sucked.
Yeah.
And we used to always joke, you're doing that on purpose, right? That's what this, because South Carolina, the baseball is loved here so much, Jay. It has such a rich, deep tradition. You spend so much money now, resources, facilities, everything is like thumbs up, and you go out and have the two worst seasons you've ever had.
Yeah. Again, with the top 10 national budget.
Yes, it's incredible.
So the point I make is that the money is here, and from what I understand, not only is the money here in terms of a current top 10 budget, but that you are prepared, if necessary, to go higher in certain areas, if need be, in order to make everything work for your next head coach, his staff, and the recruiting budget and portal budget and NIL budget and all those kind of things. So, and as John Whittle reported about Scott Forbes, there are some things that they're not doing as much of at North Carolina, and yet they still have success on a very high level. So is it, and now this is me talking, not John, but is this, something where Scott Forbes is like, well, I mean, dang, man, I'm busting my hump, and I look at what I'm doing, and if I could bust my hump like this and go to a place where they put even more into it across the board, what might that mean for me in my career before my career's over? So who knows? And again, that last part's me speculating, but that's probably, or again, is it a leverage play? We hear that a lot in these things all across the country. I don't know. Again, as John said, what exactly are the terms of Scott Forbes' reworked deal? Has it been signed? And if it hasn't, then is this a way to go? Well, hey, remember that deal in March? Yeah, we need this now in June.
Okay,
So.
I'm looking right now at. I'm looking for a bunch of different stuff. Front Office Sports, which is a reputable site. The list of highest paid coaches, and we are going back to 2024 on this list because I'm trying to do this on the fly. At that point, you have Tony Vitello, Tim Corbin, Kevin O'Sullivan, Tim Tadlock, TCU, Jay Johnson, LSU, Scott Forbes, North Carolina, $1.7 million. So that's before any kind of extensions. And this is May 30th, 2024 from Front Office Sports. So if you're going to get Scott Forbes, the number 2 needs to come into play. That's just reality. Because and I try to look up what this new extension is, and that's not out there yet.
No,
So
that's why. And again, that might be to John's point of has it been?
that's what I was getting ready to say. Has it been signed?
It might not be
Because
public
the
yet.
numbers aren't out yet.
2 other names, real quick, that John has in his piece at Gamecocks 247 are Josh Holliday, the longtime head coach at Oklahoma State University. Way back when, in one of his earliest seasons in Stillwater, they, of course, won the Clemson Regional and then the Columbia Super Regional and went on to the College World Series. That's the last time that Cowboy program has been to the College World Series, 2016. He's been at the tournament pretty much every year since then. And that's a proud program with a wonderful legacy. They have 20 overall trips to the College World Series. But again, their last one was in 2016. So it's been a little bit. And they've been bounced from this year's tournament already.
Holiday, again, he's been to the tournament every
year. Yeah.
I think it's a 13-year streak now he's had. That's the good. And the other good is College World Series in 16, like you said. He's been to 2 other Supers, but has not advanced out of the regional since 2021. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight trips to the dance, not getting out of the regional.
Right.
I mean, he's a fine head coach. Like you said, they take baseball seriously in Stillwater.
Very seriously.
And was it John's piece something like, has this guy just gotten stagnant? Not saying he's not working as hard, but sometimes, Jay, you just get where it's like you need maybe to get re-energized.
Yeah.
And the thought process is, does he need to go somewhere to get re-energized? And again, my guess is he would get more resources, salary, money, everything. He'll get more of that here at South Carolina than he would at Oklahoma State.
Do you have? I mean, I know you had access earlier to the national database when it came to baseball budgets.
I will grab the list.
Yeah, I don't know where.
Sing a song real quick.
Well, I don't know where Oklahoma State ranks. And one other name that John puts out that I do think is one to keep an eye on is Skylar Meade, who, of course, was Carolina's pitching coach a few years back and has been the head coach at Troy since he left Columbia. And they are in the Supers for the first time in school history, having been the surprise winner. Let's call it what it is: the surprise winner of the Gainesville Regional, where the Florida Gators were the top eight, number 8 overall, but the top in the top national seeds. And again, they throttled the Gators to get to the Supers.
They weren't close,
10-2 was the final in that one. And now they're hosting, as luck would have it, they're hosting the Super Regionals because Little Rock ended up winning the Hattiesburg Regional and bounced Southern Miss, who was the host in that one. So Troy gets to host, and, you would think they have a great opportunity. Look, I'm not going to these 4 seeds that are in, there's 3 of them, which is crazy. Crazy that there are 3 4 seeds left in this tournament. Cal Poly, St. John's, and Little Rock. So I'm not gonna say, well, they got no chance because they shouldn't be here to begin with, and they are. And the reason they are is because they won. Bang.
Yeah.
So,
real quick, Oklahoma State is not in the top 25.
Okay.
Budget.
Interesting. So, again, I'm not saying that anything has changed in terms of who's at the top, but I think some of these other names. Interesting. We'll keep you updated, I assure you. Terry opens the vault next. 11 minutes in front of 4 o'clock Thursday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Coming up next hour, get into a few Gamecock football notes. The Athletic seems high on the Gamecocks, both from a human and machine, as they said, point of view. We'll get into that for you. And what's going on around the nation when it comes to college athletics. One more thing I want to say here from our friend John Whittle. He said... back in May, he said, I posted that if the betting choices were Kevin Schnall or the field, I'd take Schnall. My stance on that hasn't changed.
Right.
So, and I there again, I applaud the due diligence, turning over every rock, all those kind of things, and making sure. And again, if you've got somebody, via their agent, or heck, maybe they got Jeremiah's number and they've called him directly, I want to talk to you. It's not that you do them the courtesy. You do right by your employer.
Right. You have to. You have to.
But from day one, nothing seems to have changed. And again, Terry, everybody I've talked to says, it all continues to point to Kevin Schnall. Yeah. But you need to do these other things.
But yesterday, we did. Multiple sources said, South Carolina is still talking to folks.
Right.
And you just have to keep doing that, right? I mean, look, you got to have a good plan B, C, D, and E, F, G, H sometimes.
Well, it seems obvious that maybe the last couple of times you didn't.
No, you didn't, and you saw what happened.
Yeah.
So you got to have your plan. I mean, you got to have your guy, but you can't just sit and look straight at your guy. You got to have other options. You got to keep talking to people because you just never know what's going to turn up. Like, for example, and we'll get to the vault because I got some good vault trivia. Let's say Forbes all of a sudden comes into play for real. Right? If you've just got one laser focused plan, then you're not paying attention to that, right? But if you are open and flexible to continuing to, like you said, flip over every rock, then if someone like a Scott Forbes comes into play, you got to do your due diligence to see what that is.
And if I'm the athletics director at that point, and say somebody's agent has contacted me, I'll be like, listen, man. Don't be yanking my chain here.
Exactly.
I don't need you telling me how serious your guy is, only to find out that you're doing nothing more than making sure you get an extra whatever amount of dollars from where he is. And if I find that kind of thing out, I'm going to be telling people about. Not that you're going to try to ruin somebody's career, but
I know where you
like, hey, well, but like, man, hey, agent whomever was just, and look, I get it. They can be BS artists if they need to be. So, in that respect, like,
I agree.
Just be straight up with me.
Be straight up with me, man. Let's talk about this.
Just be straight up.
What's up?
Yeah. All right, what you got?
Here we go.
Okay.
This day in 2009, this pitcher earned his 300th win, becoming the 24th Major League hurler to reach that milestone. Year 2009.
2009. Would that be my guy, Tom Glavine?
No, it would be your guy, Randy Johnson.
Oh, okay. Well, he's not really my guy.
1990.
He is left-handed.
Tom Glavine ever hit a bird while pitching?
No,
Thank you.
Not that I know of.
1990, this team was voted into the Big Ten, becoming the 11th member.
Penn State.
Nice. This day, 1970.
Well, that wasn't so hard.
I'm trying to pump you up, man, make you feel good.
Remember when they had that logo that had 11?
Yeah. Ridiculous. 1974, this franchise was granted entry into the NFL. 1974. Two teams came in around that time. This is one of them.
Well, okay, I was going to say it's either I don't know. So it's either the Bucks or the Seahawks. I don't know which one. I'm going to say
you got a 50-50 shot, bud.
Seahawks.
Yes.
All right.
Look at you.
Look at me.
All right. 1984.
1984. I'm sorry.
1984.
84.
The U.S. Open. This golfer, for the first time in 32 years, did not qualify for the U.S. Open. A previous champion.
Arnold Palmer?
Dude, look at you over there. You're on, the fire alarms are going to go off over there.
Yeah.
That might be your most impressive get yet this week. That was good.
You know what's crazy is that Arnie of the, because, he didn't win the career slam, but the one he didn't win was the PGA.
I know.
Which some people say is the easiest to win of the four. It's still hard.
Right. It's a major.
But it is kind of funny that the one he didn't win was that.
I tell you, and again, this is before you and I were ever thought of, forget born, but
I don't know how old you are.
I can't talk about that. Arnold Palmer was a happening.
Oh, he was a megastar.
I mean, he had like Tigers galleries.
Yeah, yeah.
Arnie's Army.
Yeah, yeah.
The galleries. Arnold Palmer was winning majors and all that. When he blew, was it the U.S. Open he blew the big lead?
Yeah,
Never the same golfer after.
yeah.
But before, I mean, and plus this kid, Jack
Yeah,
Nicklaus
Nicholas,
showed
I
up.
was going to say Nicholas.
But Palmer, I mean, he was a superstar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And remember, he's got a cigarette in his mouth, got the heater in his mouth, walking from one hole to another.
And his cool cardigans and
Arnie was a thing.
yeah, no, he was a megastar.
Nice
man.
work by you. I'm quite
Thanks.
impressed with your poll there, sir.
Thanks. I do what I can. All right, hour 2 coming up. We'll get some Gamecock football thoughts for you. National storylines around that hearing in D.C. And speaking of which, did the Notre Dame AD kind of mess up on that one? We'll discuss. 4 o'clock on this Thursday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Hour 2 of the postgame show from downtown Columbia's Herndon Chevy Studios. Spent the bulk of the first hour discussing the latest around the Gamecock baseball search. All signs continue pointing squarely toward Kevin Schnall, but there are some interesting names that are still seemingly part of the rotation, including a newer name, and that is North Carolina head coach Scott Forbes, whose team hosts Southern California this weekend. I had somebody suggest to me that if I really wanted to make people really angry around here, which I don't, but it was funny, and as a lifer around here, I get it, because it was funny. Say on the air that Carolina is hosting USC in the Super Regional. And I was like, it's funny.
It is funny.
And it would upset Gamecock fans.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to actually say that.
And something tells me that if you watch that broadcast, you will hear that.
You will. You'll hear the word Carolina a lot, and you'll hear USC a lot, and I still do that, by the way. At my age, with my experience, I will get like, I'm like, wait, who? Oh, okay.
I won't lie. I've gotten really good at calling Southern Cal.
Yeah.
Every now and then I catch myself with Carolina. I've had that happen where I've caught myself.
Yeah.
I feel like for me the Southern Cal thing was easy. For some reason, maybe because I got family in all over North Carolina.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
No, that's fair. They because your family grew up saying that, and that's what we that's just how it is in these two states.
You know what's so funny? I'll tell you when I first got here, because I didn't know. I had no clue. And I said USC. And I remember Heath. I love Heath. He's so funny. Because you and I were doing noon to 3. And Heath calls me at 6. Because, so I'll give you a heads up. You don't want to call Southern Cal USC here. Because you got 10 people in the text line telling you, stop doing it. I was like, thanks, man.
Well, and I think I think around the country, there's the bulk of people call them USC, but there's a good contingent that calls them Southern Cal.
Yeah, I think the people that understand this side of it call them Southern Cal. Because they get why people here feel the way they do. Once you dig into it a little bit, you go, oh, I get you. Yeah. I get you. So you understand it more if you're here or you know about why it's thought.
Well, not even just here in South Carolina, but I think from time to time I will hear, on the national level, I'll hear Southern Cal. I mean, it's like you never hear nobody says Louisiana State.
No.
Everybody says LSU. But occasionally you hear Florida State instead of hearing FSU. But you know what FSU is.
Right.
The bulk of the time when you're referring to the school in Pasadena, it's USC. But you will hear a decent amount of Southern Cal.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, from when I was a kid, it was called USC.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah.
And so then I heard, as I got older, I heard the real USC. And you get that going back and forth here and there. And then once you get here, though, and you really take a look at it, you go, oh, I see why people here get so annoyed about that. That makes sense to me. Yeah. It absolutely does. And the Carolina thing, I get that on another level, but I get it. You say Chapel Hill, which I think is the
I grew up with people that went there, and a lot of people up there call it that.
Well, that's a perfect way to do it.
Yeah. Now, because back then, especially, it differentiated between Charlotte, Wilmington, Asheville, I think Pembroke, right? Is that right? Is that one of the directionals?
Yep.
Might be another one. Oh, Greensboro.
Yeah, Greensboro. Right.
So, but a lot of people would say I went to Chapel Hill.
Right.
But when you're talking about it's weird up there too. Like a lot of people, I went to Chapel Hill, but if they're pulling for them, they call them Carolina.
Right.
Like, we don't do that around here. Nobody says, I went to Columbia.
No.
You're like, whoa, man, you went to Columbia?
How is that? How is that country?
No. Or I'm thinking Ivy League, Columbia.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Columbia.
Yeah. Pretty impressive.
Or Columbia College. Yeah. It's like, my mom's proud alma mater, Columbia College. Go Koalas.
There you go.
But, yeah, we don't do as much. But anyway, so I just thought that was funny.
It is funny. That
and
is
again,
funny.
don't anybody at me. Don't at me, bro.
He's playing. You're just playing. You're
Because
playing.
again, as a lifer of these parts,
That's right. You know what's up.
Yeah. So to me, North Carolina is hosting Southern Cal
There you
this
go,
weekend
sir.
in a super region.
Absolutely. Tar Heels and the Trojans.
That's right. So there it is. I went and voted today, by the way. Hey, by the way,
So
can I
you-
say I don't know who's
Yeah,
running,
sure.
but I went to the Blot. Some of you say Blatt, but I knew Mr. Solomon Blot, so I still say Blot. But anyway, the Blot PE Center on campus is where they had the early voting center today. Very easy. So thank you to those, whether that's a state thing, a Richland County thing, both. I think it's Richland County running that. But man, one of my daughters and I went. We were in, we were out. It was great. So
Quick.
if you want to go early vote,
So honestly, the way to do it's early vote.
and you live in the city, in town, go
Early
to
vote.
the Blot or again Blatt PE
Yeah.
Center, your choice. Wheat Street, right there across from Booker T. Washington.
I started doing the early voting thing a few cycles ago.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what? This is where it's at, man. Do it. Get in there, get out of there, get it over with. Don't fight the big mob or crowd on the day.
Sometimes it depends. Like this year, the primary not so much. Like in November, this will be a big one in South Carolina because we got the gubernatorial races and all the statewides, and we'll have a
Yeah.
U.S. Senate race and all that stuff. So it'll be busy in November. So I'll probably try to early vote then too.
Early vote's the best way to go.
But I got my sticker on.
I saw that, man.
It's great.
Pretty good.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you know that won't come off your shirt. Nice. Hope you didn't like that shirt.
I'll get another shirt. I think this was a gift, so I'll just,
Oh, the shirt?
I think. Not the sticker. I didn't pay for the sticker. I got that when I slid my little card in the thing, man. You just had a sticker right there.
man,
Thank you for
look at
voting.
you.
Appreciate it.
Look
you
at
bet.
you.
All right. By the way, it does ask, I voted. Did you? Rhetorical question.
Absolutely.
Go vote.
Good for
Are you one of those like that don't complain if you don't vote?
I say I am. Don't if you don't vote,
Yeah.
because again, you have every right to voice your opinion, obviously, but go be part of the process if you want to voice your opinion. Then it's because it's the first question, right? Well, did you do something about it?
Yeah.
You and I always say this. We will criticize things here,
Yeah.
but we will also say here's an idea.
I offer a solution.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't complain about a problem without
So,
offering a solution.
Paul, you know what part of the solution is? Voting.
Yeah.
That's part of the solution.
Go vote. Go vote. When's the last time you ran on the court to try to get a selfie with a superstar?
Just last night.
Oh, that was you, huh?
Yeah,
Didn't look like you. Didn't look like you. Yeah, last night during the game. And when we say during the game, not like in a stoppage, during action on the court, some bozo ran out. I don't think they've ever given us his name, have they?
No, nor should they.
No, and they really shouldn't have even
They
shown
shouldn't.
it.
That was going to be
They
my
shouldn't have
point.
shown
When you were
it.
finished explaining it, I was going to say my problem was they showed him.
Yeah, and maybe the ABC director was just so stunned by the fact that it was during the game that somebody ran out on the court. They didn't know what to do.
Because you don't want to give these fools any kind of publicity.
No, but the guy ran out, was trying to get a picture in front of Victor Wembanyama, and stopped right in front of him. And Mitchell Robinson was quickly, and it was, I mean, we've all seen it by now, I think. If you haven't, I'm sure you can find it. A couple of security guards got him down to the baseline behind the basket and whisked him away. It said a second individual, this guy got a lifetime ban, according to the NBA, from NBA arenas, not
As
just
he
from
should.
San Antonio. Now, here's the thing.
It's hard to enforce.
I don't know
that.
how you enforce that.
Yeah, it's hard to
I really
enforce.
don't. I'm pulling for them, as I like to say. I'm
Yeah.
pulling for you to enforce that. And apparently someone that was with him is also receiving a lifetime ban for what they said was that person's role in the incident. I just, look, I don't know what goes through someone's mind. I don't know, what you thought was going to happen. Is this, will they find out that this is somebody who's got a YouTube channel? I can't remember. There was somebody recently, right? I think it was a singer, was on tour maybe somewhere in like Southeast Asia. Mm-hmm. You'll have to, and some of you might know who it was, and forgive me, I can't remember. It was somebody my kids knew. But like got a little too close to this singer and just said, oh, no, I'm just trying to, I just wanted a selfie. And then you find out that it's some Yahoo, but that it has, a big YouTube channel
Right.
and just wanted to show off.
Mm-hmm.
But put a singer, an entertainer in if not danger, in some level of like harm's way.
Here's the thing: in the world we live in now, you don't know what anybody's going to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I go back to that goofy wacko with Monica Seles.
Right.
He was a Steffi Graf fan, and Seles was beating Graf, and he couldn't stand it, so he decided to stab her.
Right.
You just don't know anymore.
Well, the Hank
what
Aaron thing,
someone's
you know,
going
like
to-
the two Hank
I was
Aaron
getting
guys.
ready to bring up
who all they wanted to do was pat Hank on the back, and that's cool.
But when you see the letters Hank Aaron got during that home run chase,
Yeah.
the minute you see those guys coming up near him, if you're security, you're taking those guys out by
And I
physical
still don't
force.
know. By the way, even if they meant nothing but goodwill,
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how by the time those dudes got to the pitcher's mound, there weren't the guys in Atlanta. I mean, still to this day, all right, like 50 some years later, you're like, why weren't you tackled?
I mean, that those two dudes made it to Hank was a miracle. I've said this over the last so many years. When someone goes on the field, you are fair game for whatever kind of physical harm that comes upon you.
Amen, man.
You get tased, you get whooped, you get billy clubbed, pepper sprayed. Now you're going to
Or if an athlete, some football player decides that you're going to be the tackling dummy.
You know what? I applaud it, and guess what? I'm entertained by your misery.
Right.
Because you are not very bright.
Right.
Go ahead.
Although I
man.
can see somebody sue, but isn't it like, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm misremembering, but wasn't there a case one time of somebody like robbing someone's house and falling through a skylight and they sued the homeowner?
I remember this, yes.
Is that as real?
Yes,
Is that real?
I think you're right.
It'd be like that, like, well, I just ran out on the field. I didn't know the guy was going to tackle me. It's like, why'd you run on the field?
Right.
You
Don't run on the field.
you can't, you know, so I'm not saying this.
The minute you run on that field, you are fair game.
But
That's
I
what
guess
I
that
feel
guy
about it.
last night's lucky that 10 incredibly grown men didn't decide all at once to tear him a new one or two.
I'll be honest.
Now, those
man.
two guys were on him. Those two bouncers, if you will, security dudes. I guess they're not bouncers, but I'll call them that.
I like that.
They were on him. They were quick.
And they didn't do what they could have been much more forceful than they were. They got on him and got him out of the way. But again, you know, that's the other thing. When you run out here and do this goofy stuff, some of the folks who are in security are a little more gung-ho than others.
Yeah.
So you're really putting yourself in a spot that you're not going to get like, you know, the people's elbow.
Well, I want to
so to
believe there's a
speak.
little room down a hallway somewhere.
I hope. I really hope.
Yeah.
I hope that some sense was forced into him.
How you doing, sir? I ask you how you doing, sir.
Yeah. Door
Let's
shuts.
talk.
Door shuts.
Let's talk.
Can I call? No, you can't, sir. Can we see that phone for a minute?
It's like Darth Vader, Han Solo.
Yeah.
You know, he's just Empire Strikes Back.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Never even asked me any questions.
It was always like my favorite, like
Just hear him screaming, you know?
remember that show NYPD Blue back in the day, Dennis Franz?
Yeah.
He'd get guys in the box.
They had methods.
There was methods.
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 You
Just
need,
saying.
you need to get some information.
Every now and then, information's very
Yeah, that's
important.
what I thought about that last night. I thought about
The
Han
Darth
Solo.
Vader and
Yeah, no,
Han
Han
Solo.
Solo. He was like, never even asked me any questions.
Never asked me any questions.
So, but that's what you get for.
Wouldn't it be great? You walk. They bring you into that room, and then some dude dressed like Darth Vader walks in.
Yeah.
And they go,
Scare the crap out of them.
"This man needs to talk to you for
Yeah.
a little bit."
So, lifetime ban, well deserved.
Yeah.
I just hope it's enforced. But here's the thing:
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be people that know who this bozo
Sure.
is, right?
Mhm.
And this guy's going to go to an NBA game soon enough. Now, he won't run out on the court again,
No, he'll go.
but he'll take a picture of himself
Mm-hmm.
and go,
I'm here.
yeah,
Yeah.
hey, Adam Silver, what are you going to do about this?
I can see if this guy is what we think he possibly could be. He'll go to as many NBA arenas as he can and get selfies of himself in the stands, saying "Lifetime ban this, Adam."
The only other thing to add is the district attorney's office in San Antonio confirmed that it was a juvenile. And that only means you're under 18. And that wasn't that if that's a juvenile, that person looked like he'll be 18 soon.
He didn't look like a juvenile.
Yeah, he didn't look like. I mean, he wasn't 10.
No, he didn't look like a juvenile.
Yeah.
That looked like an early 20s type of person.
Yeah. We
to
are
me.
prohibited by law from discussing any information or details regarding the case.
All right, I
Says.
guess giving a thump into a juvenile is probably not the way to go. Now I got to be all nice.
No, you don't.
You're right, I don't.
Never even asked him any questions.
You know, I know some juveniles who would go give that juvenile a thumping.
We'll come back on the other side, get you some Gamecock football notes. The Athletic seems rather high, relatively speaking, on the Gamecock football season. Would you agree with them? Let's discuss on the other side of the postgame show.
CHW Cabinetry, Two Notch in Lexington, Star and her team. Photorealistic renderings, we talk about it a ton. From beginning to end, full transparency in the work, done in your budget to your likeness and specifications. And they do indoor, outdoor work, indoor cabinetry, custom design kitchens, baths, closets. You need it wherever inside the home, CHW Cabinetry will make it happen. Outdoor, kitchens, living spaces, you need cabinetry, they'll get it done for you. Easy, no issue, no problem. Great customer service. They might even you can even say, look, I'd like to have some cabinets in my shower. Okay, let's do it. That's what CHW Cabinetry can do for you. All you got to do is just give them a call. Reach out to CHW Cabinetry, Two Notch in Lexington, 803-520-6837. Again, 803-520-6837, CHW Cabinetry.
20 minutes after 4 o'clock Thursday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Post-game show rolling on. Anything further to give you on the Gamecock baseball situation, we'll certainly pass it along. Otherwise, we'll save that until the 5 o'clock hour in the Gamecock. But a lot going on around that, with all signs continuing to point to Kevin Schnall becoming the next baseball coach at Carolina. But that is not a done deal as of yet. In the meantime, it'll be football season before we know it, and a lot of attention will be turned towards Shane Beamer's ball club. The Athletic this week had an interesting piece they put out. Sam Kahn and Austin Mock had their own preseason top 25, and they had a statistical projection model that they're using put out its post-spring top 25. Sam put the bulk of this together. He's got Indiana at number 1. I'll give you his quick top 10. Mm-hmm. Indiana at number 1, Ohio State 2, Oregon 3. That's a lot of Big Ten up there, too. Mm-hmm. Oregon's in the Big Ten. Do you know that?
Yeah, you know what? I forgot Nebraska was earlier, so I can't remember anymore who's where.
Texas is number 4. Miami is 5th. Notre Dame 6th. Georgia 7. That feels low. Mississippi 8. That feels high. Oklahoma 9. Feels about right. Yeah, Texas Tech 10th. We'll see. SEC schools. Texas A&M 11. LSU 13. Missouri 17. How about that, huh? Mm-hmm. Alabama number 20. Ooh. And at number 25, South Carolina.
There you go.
Sam Kahn writes, again, of The Athletic, from a pure physical talent standpoint, there aren't many rosters that look better than this one, with guys like Lenora Sellers, Dylan Stewart, Nick Harbor, and Jacarius Peak leading the way. But a woeful showing on the offensive line last year helped doom the Gamecocks, who went 4-8 overall and 1-7 in the SEC. Credit them for going heavy in the portal to attack that deficiency, led by the acquisition of Peak, one of 7 O-linemen with Division I experience signed by the Gamecocks. And you had a couple of those that you should have beaten Alabama. You should have beaten Texas A&M.
Oh, you had A&M.
And, again, you were within a score of Missouri late and just didn't do anything with the ball. And there's reasons why. I get it. Mm-hmm. Missouri wasn't terrible last year, but hard to believe we went 1-7 in the conference.
I mean, yeah.
By the way, in the teams that just missed it, so his, 26 through 30, Sam Kahn, very SEC heavy with Tennessee, Auburn, and Florida in that mix, along with California and Arizona.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are expecting some big things from California, by the way.
You got a head coach who's a massive recruiter who came in from Oregon, and
you got Ron Rivera running it as what is he?
CEO, GM, CEO, whatever he is. And,
Ron Rivera versus Andrew Luck out there for Stanford Cal.
Tell you, man, I'll take Andrew Luck. And that one. Much younger. The interesting part of Cal or Stanford or any of these schools like that, we forget something. A lot of rich folk graduated from these institutions.
Smart, too.
And, and if they want to all of a sudden invest money in those institutions for the athletics, these programs could change in a lot of ways. Just look what's going on with Vandy.
Yeah.
I mean, so, Cal.
And Cal's a public school. It's the best public school in America, but it's still a public school.
Public school.
So big school, man.
With all those people that have graduated from there and all those people that made a ton of money and all the really, really smart people in big spots. And I mean, seeing Cal on that list, at first you go, well, they haven't mattered since Aaron Rodgers was there. But with
Jared Goff. Was Jared Goff good? Did they go to a bowl?
They weren't a great team with Jared Goff. No, not really. Not consistently through that time. I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
When was Marshawn there? After Rodgers?
Yeah, I think a little bit after Rodgers. Obviously Marshawn was valedictorian at Berkeley. But
I bet he did have a good time though.
Oh, he had a hell of a good. Ready? There's some like this, right? Marshawn Lynch at Cal makes you kind of giggle.
Yeah.
Jim McMahon walking around BYU makes you giggle. Yeah. There's certain ones over the years where you just go, I bet you it was fun being around those guys. Yeah. Anyway, Cal on this list is interesting. Again, Arizona has really ramped up everything with Dillingham. Florida, we say it all the time, sleeping giant. Can Summerall get them back to where they can be? In Tennessee, this feels like a going backwards
Well, they
tend to
got
see it a
you
little
mentioned
bit.
it a couple weeks ago. They got to get the quarterback right.
They
And if
gotta
they
get the
have, we just don't
quarterback
know if they have or haven't until they play.
And look,
Because they really, the fact that they really, really wanted Joey Aguilar back tells you they aren't real sure about what they have behind him.
right, and look, they run the ball really well. The way that offense is spread out, that leads to a good running attack. But they need a trigger man. They have not had a trigger man, Jay, who is really consistent since our boy Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
And you saw how good that offense was with Hendon Hooker.
He was a good college
if
quarterback.
they could get a consistent quarterback to just make the reads and make the plays, to go with that running game, that offense could get back to where it was.
The offense works beautifully.
If you get a quarterback in there that can run it.
In terms of the Gamecocks, I mean, look, one of the big things is, will Jacarius Peak be healthy and ready to go? Will Dylan Stewart be healthy and ready to go? Coach Beamer says they should be fine, and both are ahead of schedule with their particular rehabs. Again, Dylan's got a bad back, and Jacarius hurt his knee playing basketball, which, again, that stinks. But, I mean, it happens. But you do have a lot of guys behind, but you need him to come around, and you need this offense to pick itself up.
If this roster is healthy going into the year, because we know once the collisions start, who knows? If this roster is healthy, with the offensive coordinator they have, to go with what they already had in Clayton and with the special teams, it's always solid. If this offense can do what we think it can do healthy with that offensive line, you should score a lot of points.
Right.
And if you do that, that's the thing that's really held you back in the Beamer era, was a consistent offense. Plus, think about this, Jay. If this works out the way it's supposed to health-wise, and things go how we think they could go for individual players, you could see Lenore Sellers, Dylan Stewart, Jacarius Peak hear their name in the first round of the NFL draft.
Agreed.
You could hear Nick Harbor's name in the second round of the NFL draft or third round of the NFL draft. That's pretty impressive. Now, again, depth is always important in football. You can't just have 4 or 5 guys and go, we're going to go 10-2. But you got from what Sam says here, there is talent on this football team. Absolutely.
There was last year too. That's what made last year so disappointing, was just to see it just crumble the way it did. And again, you had you had 2 you should have, and you had a third, and in some ways a fourth at LSU that you were certainly
right
in.
There, man.
You were down a score
right there
within 5 minutes of the end of the ball game with the football.
But isn't it interesting how, and obviously the offensive line was awful, which has been a theme, unfortunately. But then you just think about how important coordinators are. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, no offense, I'm not picking on Mike Shula, but I guess I'll pick on Mike Shula. I mean, that offense and what went on from coordinator down to system to play calling, and how we sat here on Monday scratching our heads in a respectful way, having the right coordinators in place matters. Yeah. It just, Clayton White's just a rock, man.
Yeah.
He just really is.
Yeah.
And so if you got the guy we think you got in Kendall Briles to go with Clayton White and special teams, which have always been at least solid under Shane, we should see a much better 2026 is the feeling.
We'll come back on the other side. Again, it was man versus machine was part of this exercise that the athletics college football guys did. So what did the machine say, not only about South Carolina, but about really the 1 through 25, because there were differences, I assure you. And an SEC analyst had some things to say about Coach Beamer's 2026. We'll get into that on the other side of the postgame show.
The Men's Clinic of South Carolina, Dr. Dan and his staff, ready to sit down and talk to you for free. Free is a great price. You go in for a free consultation to discuss whatever's going on with you. As you're a guy and you're getting older, you're just not happy with where you're at physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever the case. You sit down and have a conversation. because Dr. Dan and the staff might be able to help you. They'll do a testosterone test on you. Sometimes the physical things could be low T. And any of the other things that are going on with you, the lack of sleep, the lack of just driving life, the lack of, remembering things the way you used to. There could be help for you at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. 803-875-MENS. It's a free consultation. Go in, tell them your story. Let them put together a plan to help you get back to being you again. 803-875-MENS. Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Check on the traffic. One accident. I-26 eastbound between South Carolina 202 and Columbia Avenue. That's between exits 85 and 91. 2 lanes are blocked. That's it, the only accident we see. Again, I-26 eastbound between South Carolina 202, that's exit 85, and Columbia Avenue, exit 91. Also, our construction that we suffer through every day. I-26 between Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road, I-20 between Sunset Boulevard and Bush River Road, and Broad River Road between I-26 and Dutch Fork Road as well.
"26 minutes in front of 5 o'clock. Thursday afternoon. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry talking a little Gamecock football for you. The Athletics, Austin Mock and Sam Kahn putting together a man versus machine post-spring top 25, or maybe just entering the summer top 25, or just a top 25. Okay. However you want to look at it. South Carolina, in terms of the man portion, that's the guys doing the 1 through 25. Carolina was 25th. Indiana was number 1. Texas was 4th. Georgia was 7th. And Alabama was 20th, as a couple of examples. So let's get into...
The machine is interesting.
The machine is a little different. And I'm not going to lie, for a lot of these, may be more inclined to think the machine is onto something.
Because the machine is cold and calculated and analytical without feelings.
That's right.
They look at numbers, the machine.
They have Ohio State number one.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just tell you right now, the best team in the country going into the season is Ohio State.
Feels like it on paper.
I mean, I love what Indiana did.
Sure.
And I'm not knocking Indiana anymore. You will not hear that. The only thing I'm knocking Indiana on is that they won't play Virginia.
I know.
All right, that's it.
But that's a legit criticism.
It is. I mean, you shouldn't have canceled your game with Virginia.
No.
You just shouldn't have. But you did. So I'm going to criticize you for it.
But you deserve it. You're doing that.
They've got Oregon number 2. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon needs a breakthrough.
Yeah, let me say this really quick.
They've had some nice wins in the last couple of years.
Dan Lanning has done a lot of nice things there. He was handed a good program with talent aplenty from Mario Cristobal. Lanning is also out there recruiting his tail off. He's done a lot of really good things. People like him. He's got dreamy hair. But our boys got to start winning in the postseason.
Yeah, and it's gotten harder now to win a national title because you got to win more games.
Yeah. At least get to the championship game.
Yeah, I think it's time for that. They've only done it once, I guess.
That was was it once or twice?
Twice.
No, they
maybe?
made it. They made it under the guy that replaced Tedford. Not Tedford. What was his name? The guy Mark.
Bellotti.
No, that was the guy before Kelly. The guy after Kelly got them to the championship game.
Oh,
They lost.
I don't remember.
I can't remember it either. I can't remember. I'm blanking on him.
I know I can see him. I just can't think of his name.
He was OC for a long time, and then Kelly left, and he stepped in for Kelly.
I can't remember.
I'm going to have to look it up. It's going to drive me
That's
crazy.
fine.
Continue, sir.
But anyway, the machine has Texas at 4, and so did the guys. Georgia is 5th. The machine had Alabama, or excuse me, the guys had Alabama at 20th. The machine has them at 9.
How about that?
Big difference right there.
How much of that is just the perception of Bama under Kalen DeBoer by the human, and the machine just saying you got a boatload of talent?
They got talent galore, man, and they got a couple of now. Listen, is it the situation where if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one quarterback? I still don't know right now. I think Keelan Russell's the guy.
They're dying for that kid to take the job.
Yeah, I think he's the guy.
To take the job.
But Austin Mack could be the guy. They have Tennessee in there. The machine has Tennessee at number 16, Florida number 18, Missouri number 19, and it has South Carolina at number 20. So a 5-spot difference for the Gamecocks. It also has Clemson in its top 25 at number 24. Clemson did not even make the top 30, if you will, of the guys that voted on this one. Now, again, look, it's June, and I'm not going to sit here and say this is the end-all, be-all, because, of course, none of this is. But there's a couple things. Georgia, maybe it's just because I don't want to say recency bias. That's not what I'm going for here, Terry. But in measuring Georgia and Texas, all right, they've played 3 times in the last 2 years. Georgia's 3-0. And in a couple of them, it really wasn't close, man.
No.
So I'm going to give Georgia the nod as the best team in the Southeastern Conference. Texas is loaded. But you know what? Texas, you got one final hurdle to clear, and you can't clear it.
Can't clear it.
So until you do, I'm going to give Georgia the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
A&M finds ways to underachieve relative to expectation, but I think that Coach Elko is doing a better job with them, so I'm okay there.
I think Elko is the guy to get them more in the direction where they should be.
They've got the machine has Miami at 8. Look, we can sit here and do a lot of this, but when it comes to the Gamecocks, and that's where we're going to focus, you're in both of these now, and you're going to be in some others too, but you will be left out of plenty of top 25s. Carolina is going to be solidly in the top 40.
Yeah, I think
in the preseason,
a lot of 20 to 25 range, like you said, a lot of 25 to 35, 40-ish range. Look, there's talent. There is talent on this roster,
but it also is
there are question marks as well.
Yeah, and it comes for a little bit. Look, if you were to ask me how hot Shane Beamer's seat was, I would tell you you probably can't go 4-8, 1-7 again and feel great.
I think you have to have a winning record.
Yeah, I mean, at least back to the postseason,
right.
But
and it's how you win and how you lose. And the film guy Brooks Austin,
let's hear this.
Covers the SEC, and here's his thoughts and his crew's thoughts on Shane Beamer's the temperature of his seat.
I have this mental battle, though, every single time we talk about South Carolina and Shane Beamer, because to me, he has a very hot seat going into this year, but there's so many scenarios where I still see South Carolina being like, we'll give it another try. Like, we like Shane. He likes us. He's happy to be here. We'll just keep it going.
If Kendall Briles is worth anything, they might have to keep it going. But you lose Lenoris, you lose Dylan Stewart, you probably lose Nick Harbor, you lose Jacarius Peach, you're going to lose Josiah Thompson. If he can't win this year, he will not win. He will not win at South Carolina.
Here's why I'm going to put South Carolina and Shane Beamer at number one. Because of the lack of momentum that you will have in the month of late November, early December, where you're going to close out the season at Florida versus Tennessee, at Oklahoma, Texas A&M, at Arkansas, Georgia, at Clemson. If you go 1-5 in that stretch, 2-4, that's an accomplishment. You're going to close out the season in very poor fashion. On top of that, like we just said, you're going to lose all the great players that you had. There's going to be no momentum heading into 2027 for that program. I think Shane Beamer will be fired.
With arguably your most talented rosters in 2 straight years, you're going to go 4-8 and maybe 6-6.
Yeah,
we can't do that.
No,
we can't do that. Even at South Carolina.
That's why going 4-1 in that opening stretch that includes the visit to Tuscaloosa is basically mandatory. They hit on something where I think I might be, and that is listen, Shane is still recruiting well. Now, I don't discount what those guys just said about the current roster and what you're going to lose. Yeah. But I think they feel real good about their quarterback room behind Lenoris. Now, you don't have another Lenoris, but you know what? I'm not sure anybody has a Lenoris. Lenoris seems special. That's why last year hurts so much, because you wasted a year of Lenoris. And you had Lenoris, in my opinion at least, and I know it's a shared opinion, Terry, you had Lenoris looking like a different athlete. I mean, Mike Shula, I don't want to say Mike Shula scared him, but you got to be a pocket guy. 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 And he wanted, and because Lenoris is such a good student,
he's coachable.
He wanted to be a good pocket guy,
and he knows he has to be able to do that at the next level. So of course,
but you know, I'm of the mind, as you well know. Look, the next level can develop you. This level ain't about develop. I mean, it is about development. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It is about developing.
But not at the sake of winning games.
But you're winning. You're here to win.
Right, and you're here to do what you can do at your level.
And that's why I bang my drum, Terry Ford. That's why I bang my drum, man. Because in AA baseball, if you start throwing you're trying to learn how to throw a curveball, and all you do is leave them hanging over the plate and they go 400 feet, you know who gives a crap? Nobody.
No.
Nobody gives a crap. But you know what? When you're trying to thread the needle in college football and you're throwing it to the other guy, you know who cares? Everybody.
Right, and this costs people jobs. And
not to say Lenoris was throwing picks everywhere, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. If you're trying to develop and you're trying to be something different.
Whenever you start talking about the next level, that's a concern because, again, there's a balance. Your number one job here is to take your players and have them do what they do well.
And win.
And win games. And if you want to work on the other things, that's fine.
Yeah,
but
you're here to win.
And like when LSU, remember the whole ridiculous stuff with Harold Perkins at LSU?
Yeah.
We're going to put him in this spot for guess who's going to be in the NFL.
Yeah.
Who the hell cares?
Yeah, you got enough NFL dudes.
That's like Lenoris Sellers. Well, we want Lenoris. No. Let Lenoris go be Lenoris and what he does best, and you can work on the other things.
And you've promised him that you'll help him develop, and that's great. And I get, I'm not saying development doesn't matter.
Wins,
but you got to go.
Not the sake of the way he plays.
Yeah. And we saw that last year. I do think that there is a nice.
There's a balance
of what you've got to do. But Carolina loves Shane. Shane loves Carolina. Look again, 4-8, 1-7.
I will say this to that point, and we got to get out of here in a second. Real fast, if you go up and down the SEC, a lot of the hot seat guys are gone now because they've been replaced.
Yeah.
You go through the SEC, obviously, Kalen DeBoer lives on a permanent hot seat in Tuscaloosa.
Sure.
There's no hot seats anywhere else in this conference but here. There's just not. Everybody else has been replaced, or if they haven't been replaced because they're
doing well. Doing well enough.
So it's not. So just the way the conference plays out, he probably is on the hottest seat.
Jay or nay on the other side? 11 minutes in front of 5 o'clock here on this Thursday. Top of the hour headlines coming up at 5. Gamecock Notebook with more on the baseball search. Drive around the SEC still to come. So last night, and we'll have this in the news too in terms of the game, but last night, of course, the Spurs hosting the Knicks. Knicks win game 1. But there was a watch party, if you will, at Madison Square Garden. Tickets were $10, and they went to the Knicks charity. I forget what it's called, but the $10, all the proceeds from the, and they basically, from what I understand, man, they pretty much sold out the Garden last night. And they're doing it again for tomorrow night's game.
Which I think is cool.
It's great, except for one thing. Scalpers are getting these tickets for $10. And selling them for $150 and $200, and people are buying it. Now, guess what? Guess where that $140 profit for the scalpers going? Not the charity.
It's not going to charity? You know, it's going to the scalpers' charity.
I just think that's kind of
slimy.
Yeah, man. Like, I get it, right? I get it. But, like, don't pay it. Like, I know you want to. It's cool to just even be part of the vibe. I get it. But there's a word I want to use that I can't use because I'd get fired. But it rhymes with gritty. And it's really bad of those people to know that the ticket money is going to charity, only to turn around and sell it for 10, 15, 20 times what you paid for it.
Yeah.
That's like... Is that like one of those things where I can say karma's going to get you? I hope
karma gets you.
You know, like
I hope karma gets you.
Or at least I want to see one of these scalpers take the cash and like I don't know if there's a Nick fan like Santa at Christmas with the bucket for the Salvation Army, but I'd like to see a scalper, you know, like drop a grand in there, right? I don't know how many tickets, and apparently they were on Ticketmaster. People were saying, this is like Taylor Swift, you know, because there were like 150,000 people in the queue for a 22,000-seat arena.
That is pretty funny.
But I was like, no way. Like, dude, no. Yeah, no, you're not turning around and selling them for $150.
Sure they are. I mean, some scalpers, there's a reason they're scalpers.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Yeah. Jay or nay?
So nay on that, by the way. Nay on that. Yeah. Big time nay. There's a bonus question. What do you got?
Jay or nay, the NBA is investigating an interaction between the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, and courtside fans late in the fourth quarter of Game 1. Brunson appeared to be upset with some courtside fans. We see a little bit too much of this now.
Yeah.
The courtside fan interaction with the players.
Yeah.
Is this a nothing burger, or does something need to be done?
I think it's a something. So I don't know. I wish there was a middle ground of Jay or nay. And you saw Brunson and a couple of Knicks actually talking to the refs after the game, and now we know that's pretty much what it was about, I think, is some of the fan. Listen, I think a lot of times fans buy tickets to events and believe that the participants of the event they're watching are there solely for their amusement and aren't actually real people. And I'm not saying you can, like, hurt their feelings or whatever, but you do have to be careful. So I think the NBA should look into this and just monitor it. And, again, like those two security dudes that got that bozo that ran out on the court, you know, just maybe, hey there, Mr., you know, $10,000 ticket holder. Let's watch. And, you know, by the fourth quarter, Terry, they're probably a little lit.
Yeah, a little big, got a little beer muscles going there.
So just you know, I mean, there's lines that can be crossed. Try not to cross them.
I think there's a combination of inebriated fan and thin-skinned players, and when you get that together, I think you get issues. Yeah. But sometimes fans go overboard and say things you shouldn't say to anybody.
We've certainly seen that's happened.
And I just think that some people think I bought a ticket, I can say whatever I want.
Right.
And that's not the way
you really
this
can't.
works.
You really can't. So again, the line is there's a nice leeway.
Have fun. Whatever. You don't have to say certain.
Yeah. That leash is long, but
there is one.
Don't make the leash pop.
Exactly. Commissioner Rob Manfred today has acknowledged that he worries about the Major League Baseball labor negotiations could lead to a long work stoppage resembling the 1994-95 player strike. Jay or nay, are you concerned that we might see a long work stoppage in baseball?
Jay.
I think it's coming.
The owners want a cap.
Yep.
And the players have absolutely less than zero desire for a salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
So this salary cap is something like $400 million.
Right, a billion roster.
I just don't. I don't know where that middle ground currently is, and yes, I do fear for a stoppage.
And I'll say this, like usual, though, if we do have one, the fans will turn their ire onto the players.
Yeah,
especially in this one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, this one will look like.
I mean, the owners started that cap at 245, and like you and I said, it'll never be that.
No.
But if they could get one, it'll have to start with a 3.
Yeah.
If they agree,
that's where you're gonna
and even then, I'm not so sure.
I think you've got a long work stoppage.
But you might also have to see a floor come up a little bit.
I think the floor is more important than the cap myself.
Hour 3 coming up.
Still have that mess, I-26 eastbound between exits 85 and 91. 2 lanes are blocked. So that's still being worked on. Again, I-26 eastbound between South Carolina 202 and Columbia Avenue. Might want to work your way around another way home and stay away from that direction. That could be something going on for a bit. Weather, we are looking good. Very good. Matter of fact, it will get a little warm on the weekend as the highs are going to get to the 90s. Right now we're sitting at 86. This evening drop down into the 60s. Really no precipitation. Also should be a pretty nice evening.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Thursday. Welcome back in. It's also the final hour of the postgame show alongside Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. We start with a continuing and developing story around South Carolina's search for a baseball coach, and we'll have a lot more detail on this coming up in the Gamecock Notebook at 5:15. But earlier this afternoon, our good friend David Cloninger of the Post and Courier did report that he had confirmed that the South Carolina officials and Coastal's Kevin Schnall did meet yesterday and were set to meet again today, and that David was able to confirm that. As David has reported, as John Whittle has reported, Jack Veltri, Jamie Bradford, others that are closely covering this story, Kevin Schnall has, from day one, been, again, to use the golf term, leader in the clubhouse. Nothing that any of these guys are reporting has changed that perception. Let's put it that way. However, there are other names that have at least been publicized, and one that was very interesting that sort of re-entered the discussion in the last 24 hours or so was North Carolina head coach Scott Forbes, whose team is hosting Southern California this weekend up in Chapel Hill in a super regional. Should the Tar Heels advance, it'll be the second time in the last 4 seasons that Coach Forbes has led the Heels into the College World Series. So, and he makes a lot of money himself. Terry, you were reporting on that. He himself is doing well. Yeah. But there are at least, whispers around that program that more could be done to secure talent and take better care of his staff, things like that. And look, whether North Carolina gives him a raise or not, he did. If you're wondering, didn't I hear that he had a contract extension earlier this season?
Late March.
March 31st.
Yeah, March 31st had a contract extension. Now, has it been signed?
Yeah, that was the reporting from John Whittle today, our good friend John Whittle of Gamecocks 24/7, that, it's not known at this point whether that was ever actually a fully signed extension or whether it was more of a, my words here, not John's, maybe more of a memorandum of understanding with the intent of getting it done once the season is complete, whenever that date may come. So we'll see on all of that. But again, to come back to it, and for what it's worth, and we'll have the sound for you coming up in the Gamecock Notebook, Chance Miller, who is now the AD at Coastal Carolina, did a television interview with Gianna Forbes of WBTW earlier today, and that audio is now out, and we'll have a couple of cuts from Chance Miller in terms of what he had to say about the opening, the opening at Carolina, not an opening at his school, but what he thinks of Kevin Schnall and the job he's doing and what they would like to do moving forward in Conway. So that'll be coming up for you during the Gamecock Notebook here in just a few minutes' time. But once again, developing is what we would say, but David Cloninger reporting that Carolina officials and Kevin Schnall did meet yesterday and were set to meet again today.
We'll see where that takes them.
That's right. So there you go. There's that. Continuing and again, stay tuned for the Gamecock Notebook with more details. A couple of other names that are out there, according to John Whittle, that we'll discuss. But once again, every indication from all of these guys continues to say and point to Kevin Schnall still being candidate number one.
And again, we've heard a lot of stuff about Jeremiah Donati is interviewing others, which he should.
Yeah, you should.
And, if Kevin Schnall comes out to be the guy, okay.
That's right.
But I think you need to talk to others and have the channels open to go back and forth with folks as agents and reps and all that stuff and their next door neighbors or whatever.
Sure.
We talked to your Aunt Mabel.
That's right. Or my dog, Mabel. Yes, one of my dogs is named Mabel. Where were we, Terry Ford? Continuing our integrated media headlines of the day, the New York Knickerbockers take game one of the NBA Finals last night, 105-95. The final score, the Knicks found themselves down 14 points in the third quarter, but came roaring back. 28-21, the score of the third quarter, 29-19. was the score, if you will, of the fourth period. Jalen Brunson was solid throughout the game, had 17 points through three quarters. It's not terrible, and he limped off the court for a little bit. He was getting banged around, but he exploded in the fourth quarter for 13 additional points, finished with 30 on the night. Victor Wembanyama did have 26 and 12 for San Antonio, but at times ineffective and had a bad shooting percentage. The Spurs as a team last night shot just 36% from the floor. And look, I certainly follow the NBA. I am not an expert on it by any means, but just in terms of the sporting part of it, you and I were talking about this game yesterday, and I felt like there could be a potential hangover effect working against San Antonio, whereas the Knicks come in rested. And I think even, we talked about it, when the Knicks had that long layoff after beating Philadelphia and then playing Cleveland, the Cavs had them down 22 points in the fourth at the Garden.
Mm-hmm.
Knicks took it to overtime and then ended up winning by 14 or something?
Yeah, the flip of score was crazy.
And within a short amount of time, even with the 5 extra minutes. And last night was something similar, but this time on the road. And by the way, and look, obviously it was a heavy majority of Spurs fans, but the Knicks fans that made their way into the building last night in San Antonio were loud.
Oh, absolutely.
And a few of them, and I know this is surprising to some, maybe a little obnoxious.
Never, not New York fans, never. The thing is, the people in San Antonio aren't going to give you a beat down if you're obnoxious.
No, they're too nice down there,
nice
man.
people.
San Antonio's such a nice Texas town, man.
And they're just not going to.
Oh, look at them boys out there from New York City.
It's the kind of thing you go
That's
obnoxious
nice.
in certain venues in the East and the Mid-Atlantic and
Take
maybe
them out
Chicago.
for a brisket sandwich after the ball game.
Yeah, exactly. You come to our house.
Yeah, come on over, son. We have a Lone Star beer and
have yourself a little brisket and some barbecue. Like in some places, you act out obnoxious and violence happens to you.
Well, think about what Philadelphia did. Remember, the Sixers. If y'all don't remember this story, the Sixers. I guess when that series shifted back to Philly, for whatever reasons, the Sixers didn't sell their playoff game out, and you're in the playoffs and you're playing the Knicks. But rather than have the tickets go onto the open market in any way, shape, or form, Philly's ownership bought the unsold tickets, unsold tickets, not unused, unsold, and gave them to charity so that Knicks fans couldn't buy them because they knew full well
they get in your stadium, in your arena, and be obnoxious. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and you and I, we didn't really differ too. I was like, man, that's kind of crappy, but at the same time, you were like, nah. I'd have done it too.
Yeah, I blocked them out of my arena.
I don't want them,
too,
and I get it. Yeah, you don't want them in there.
Yeah, I just last night was interesting.
Will they be even more emboldened to buy tickets tomorrow night, or will Spurs fans say, okay, I tell you what, this time it's twice as much.
Because again, it's always that thing of I don't want to have the visiting team invading the arena, but he's going to give me 4 times face value.
Yeah,
I mean it's a tough call. Look, I think San Antonio will win game 2.
Pay for my kids' private school tuition with this.
Exactly, for 2 months. I think San Antonio, I picked the Knicks in 7, but I think San Antonio wins game 2 at home.
They better.
You can't go down 0-2.
They better.
This thing might go quick.
Yeah.
I'll say this about Wemby, and you and I were talking about Wembanyama today. Watching him play defense in the third quarter when San Antonio took the double-digit lead was fascinating.
Right.
He's out on the perimeter, taking on guards, and he's guarding them, and then he would drop back into the paint
gliding
to contest
back
shots.
In, man. Yeah.
He's back and forth he's all over the court on defense, and the Knicks can't do anything because he's everywhere. And then he's running the break on offense. He's flying up and down the court, hustling. And first of all, I was so impressed with him on the defensive end in that third quarter. And then I'm going, wow, look at him. He's hauling butt back down the court offensively. For a guy 7'4", this is phenomenal. But then I watched him in the fourth quarter. Looked like our boy's tank was on E.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he blew a lot of gas in the third quarter. Remember, they took him out of the game, and the Knicks came back and and cut the deficit a ton. But Wemby didn't look like the third quarter Wemby in the fourth quarter. And maybe he spent a ton of energy. Because, again, remember, the crowd's all lathered up. You're getting a double-digit lead. Everything's going well. Everybody's hopping around and playing at high intensity. This guy only played like 30 or 32 minutes a game, Jay, during the season.
Yeah.
And 7'4", you probably don't have the same cardio.
Even if he's young and in great shape,
doesn't matter.
And again, they spent a lot of energy the other night on the road to win game 7.
And you're in high altitude at 7'4".
So yeah, that's right. That's right.
But I just think part of it last night, and look, this is not the only reason San Antonio lost, because, look, Jalen Brunson went on a heater. Karl Anthony Towns was phenomenal for 3 quarters, especially in the third quarter in the comeback. But Wemby kind of seemed like lost the fastball, and none of those other guys could step up and make the plays you need to make at the end. Took some questionable shots, showed a little bit of their youth, and the Knicks just looked at Brunson and said, bro, you're on a heater. Here's the ball.
Yeah, go.
And he went, man.
Game 2 tomorrow night in San Antonio. NFL headline today, a big one. Myles Garrett and the Rams, just a couple of days after the big trade, have reworked Myles' contract. It won't increase the overall value, but it includes an increase in pay for 2026. The Browns were going to pay Myles Garrett the paltry sum of $31.5 million this season. Now, with the way it's been reworked, the Rams will pay him $37 million. The value of the contract remains at 4 years, $160 million. So they're reworking it, and then on the back end of the deal in a couple of years, he won't make as much. So they've got the room this season to bump it with the idea of decreasing it, which may help them out in years to come. So
this is all salary cap gymnastics.
And again, this is where my head just starts to hurt with some of this stuff that the NFL has to do. I'm like, whatever, that's cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
Atlanta Braves took care of the Toronto Blue Jays last night, making sure the Braves win another series. Again, they've only lost 2 series all season, one in Seattle, the other at home to the Nationals a couple of weeks ago. And tonight the Braves go for the sweep with their best pitcher on the hill, Chris Sale. Is going for Atlanta. He's 8-3 with a 2.01. His whip is .94, 80 strikeouts and only 17 walks in 67 innings pitched. Mason Flaherty goes for Toronto. He's 3-0 with a 3.97, 22 and 2/3. Terry, he's got 30 strikeouts, 9 walks, but he's only given up 1 home run. 7:15 tonight as the Braves go for the sweep of the reigning AL champion, who they need to get some pitching back. Toronto, kind of like Philadelphia, they're scuffling more than they should, but they got some injuries. They need to get some pitching back, and they'll probably be a little bit better. You just don't want it to have to be too late. The Braves currently have a 9-game lead over the Phillies, and I sent Terry the stat that I found today. Since the Braves, remember the Braves played the Phillies, they swept the Phillies in Philadelphia, and then the next weekend the Phillies came to Atlanta, and Atlanta took 2 of 3. And the Phillies were really scuffling at that point on the calendar. Since then, Philadelphia is 23-10. All right, 23-10.
Mm-hmm.
But the Braves in that same span are 22-11. So Philadelphia, despite winning better than 2 out of 3, has only gained 1 game in the standings on the Braves since that weekend, which just shows you how good the Braves have been. Again, the Braves currently have a 9-game lead in the East over Philly, 11.5 over Washington, 13.5 over Miami, and now, Terry, it's 15 games over the New York Metropolitans.
Yeah, I mean, look, you just the thing is, you went out to this big lead, great start, and if you're the Phillies, I mean, obviously you're looking at wild card spots and everything, but I mean, the frustration is you've been playing that well, and you've only gained a game.
1 game.
That's it.
And that weighs on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That weighs. And the Braves, look, the Braves aren't going to. Well, you know what? They're playing 68% baseball. That's a little high.
Yeah, but still,
they probably won't drop too much more than that if they keep this up.
Look, this is a team that you have really good pitching, and when you have really good pitching, typically that precludes you from gigantic losing streaks.
Right.
So if your pitching can continue to be top 3, top 5 in baseball, and that's starters and bullpen.
Right.
Then you know what?
This year it's been the bullpen.
You should be just total flip from last year.
Yeah, because last year the bullpen was just dreadful.
That's why it's hard to judge bullpens year to year because they're so kooky.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
By the way, before we go, Mark Helfrich, Oregon.
Okay, Mark, thank you.
And I was looking up our buddy Justin Hall.
That was a long time ago, but
okay.
Helfrich. Yeah, thank you.
I want to get that in so I can get
for those who were still listening 45 minutes ago.
I want to get the tab off my page. That's the only reason I'm telling you now. It was Helfrich.
Thank you.
He played for the national championship, and Chip Kelly did against Cam.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I believe.
That sounds right.
2010.
All right, that's our integrated
I feel
media.
better now. I got it off my chest.
That's our integrated media headlines. Again, more detail, more audio from Chance Miller as a big part of what's going on with the Gamecock baseball search. You're listening to the Postgame Show. 19 minutes after 5 o'clock on this Thursday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you here. Developments around the Gamecock baseball search. No coach yet. And if you're wondering, no board announcement yet. Just to remind everybody that before anything at all becomes even remotely official, the University of South Carolina's Board of Trustees would have to meet and approve any contract. And state law requires a full 24-hour notice before a board meeting can be held. So just keep that in mind. Not saying that they can't have one whenever, but you got to give 24 hours notice.
Yep.
So you won't just get something out of nowhere. Hey, here we go.
Right.
It'll be 24 hours. So we'll have time to catch our breath. In the meantime, if you just tuned in and missed it at the top of the hour, and we've had this afternoon around, this came out from David Cloninger right before Terry and I hit the air today, that David has confirmed that Carolina officials and Coastal's Kevin Schnall did meet yesterday, and he also confirmed, that they would meet again today. Time and place not reported, but David confirming that they were set to talk again today. Additionally today, and we're going to play this for you, Gianna Forbes is a reporter with WBTW Television down in the PD in Grand Strand, and she interviewed Chance Miller, the Coastal Athletics Director. And does it need further setup? I guess the question here was just more about Kevin Schnall's role in all of this, and Chance had some things to say about it.
I can't tell you what Kevin has done or not done, but Kevin is our coach right now. He's actually over there doing exit interviews with all the players. And as of this morning, we were talking about how we were going to build the roster for next year and how we were going to try to get back to Omaha. I can tell you this, I'm not planning on Kevin Schnall leaving. I'm planning on Kevin Schnall being the Coastal coach for a long time.
All right, so that was this morning, and that interview aired on WBTW this afternoon. Again, credit to Gianna Forbes for that reporting. You saying the right things there, obviously.
Sure.
And I'm not here to dispute any of it. Kevin, we talked about that.
Factually, it's all true, right?
Yeah, the Coastal team didn't get back to Conway until Monday. Exit interviews with a full roster, takes a little bit of time, and those started on Tuesday. Now, again, David has confirmed that Kevin took some of his time yesterday to meet with Carolina officials and would be doing so again today. But obviously, as of the recording of that interview with Chance Miller and Gianna Forbes, Chance was telling us that Kevin was in the office continuing with exit interviews.
Yep. And
that he had already met with him to discuss the future of Coastal Carolina baseball. So now look, let's parse that a little bit more, because again, I don't think it's AD speak or coach speak or anything like that. Again, I think, like you said, Terry, I think it's all factual, but could the conversation, and I smile a little bit here, but could the conversation where Chance says, hey, we were meeting this morning about how to get back to Omaha, is that part of the counter proposal? It's not just about, hey, I'd like to have a catcher who had a better OPS. We need another lefty in the bullpen.
Hey, Kevin, where's that pizza place that you like?
Or is it more of, listen, we got to up the budget.
Yeah.
And that's partially how we're going to get back to Omaha.
This year went wrong, and they had some injuries. Also, how much of this could have been the constant rumors swirling around the program about the baseball coach? Look, players get affected in different ways. But if you're Kevin Schnall and you're going to meet with Chance Miller about moving forward for next year, or the bigger picture, continuing to compete to go to Omaha, that's part of your counter proposal, right? Because if I'm Kevin Schnall, I know what South Carolina is going to give me. I got a top 10 operating budget. I've got an athletic department who is all in on baseball and will give me the financial resources to go compete at the highest level. I know that renovations are being done at the ballpark and with the facilities. I know what I'm getting there. What am I getting to stay here? And I do think that's part of the conversation.
It is. And one of the things you hit on, to credit the Coastal folk, and I know you know this too, they're all in on baseball too. It's just there's limitations.
Financially, there's a limitation at Coastal that's not at South Carolina. It's just that's reality. One's an SEC program that with a rich baseball tradition. The other has a rich baseball tradition too, but they're in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, and Chance knows. Again, where did Chance spend the last however many years it was? I mean, he was here, a long time. And Chance has worked at Tennessee. Again, this isn't catching Chance Miller by surprise. And you and I joked yesterday, on the day that Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball put out back in March, the first call should be to Kevin Schnall. It isn't like Chance went, oh man, you're going to call Mike, or like we joked, hey kids, we're going to play mini golf in North Myrtle today. Yay! Right. No. I mean, not that Chance can't take his kids to play mini golf in North Myrtle Beach, but yeah, right now he probably can't. Somebody else is going to have to do that. Have to get a babysitter.
Right, ready? I got some negotiating to do.
Yeah.
Can the nanny take the kids?
But no, I mean, I firmly believe that Coastal will do all that it can, and perhaps then some, whatever that might look like. And you just have to wonder how much that is relative to what South Carolina can do. And will South Carolina, whomever they want to hire, do all they can and then some? Because I think this time around, when it comes to this baseball program and the pride that people have in it and how far it has slipped, that you might have to do that here at South Carolina. And you and I were talking about it. You just mentioned it, and let's say it again. South Carolina has a top 10 operating budget for baseball. Not in the Southeastern Conference's 16-member schools. Top 10 in America. Yeah. And yet, in the last 2 years, you had the 2 worst seasons in the history of the program.
Yeah.
What'd you do with the money, Coach? What'd you do with the money?
Obviously not spend it wisely.
Where is the money?
I mean, really, we got to check some offshore accounts.
So now look, again, we kid a little bit there, but we're not kidding about the top 10 budget nationally and the 2 worst seasons in the history of the program.
Look, tells me if I'm any of these candidates, I know everything I'm getting, right? And that's why if I'm one of these candidates, I'm going like this. Man, I can go there. We can crush it. We can crush it. They're giving me everything I need to win there. It didn't work for the last dude for whatever reason. I don't care. What I care about, top 10 operational budget, NIL money, dough to go get who I need, resources, things are being improved. Seems like an AD who truly gets the world we're living in. A fan base that loves it.
I was going to say, as soon as you start getting it rolling, you'll get the fans back.
I'm telling you,
it won't take much.
If I'm one of these candidates, I see a gigantic sleeping giant that wants to wake up.
Yeah.
And whatever happened here the last 2 years, which is mind-numbing when we sit and break it down this way, that's an aberration. You give me that, look what I can do with all that. And I think that's where this has got to be for any of these guys. Now, does that mean you're going to take the job? It doesn't mean you're just going to take the job. Especially for Kevin Schnall, who is obviously torn for where he's at. But you seriously look at this and go, I don't know how these guys screwed up the last 2 years. This thing's set for success.
Yeah.
And it is. So,
which is why we come back around to, the 2 years prior, you were a 1 seed and a 2 seed.
Yeah, and look.
And needed a change. Needed a refresh.
I understand you feel like you went as far as you could go with King. I get it. But now we look back at that, and Mark Kingston looks pretty good from what we saw the last 2 years. So, I mean, it's just, again, I know we don't want to go back to the miserable past 2 years, but when we sit here and just break it down like this, don't you go, what the bleep?
Yeah, it's mind-numbing is a nice term. I said it's hard to fathom that it could go that bad.
That quickly.
That quickly. Like horribly, horribly wrong.
You went from solid to dumpster fire.
Yeah. Well, you went from solid to gelatinous. like putting Jell-O on a hot plate.
And just watching it.
Yeah, just melted away, man.
Unreal.
All right, it's drive around the SEC on the other side, but we're going to stick with a few more notes because, again, a couple of interesting names seem to have, as I like to say, entered the chat when it comes to potential candidates, even if they aren't at the top of the board. We'll do that as part of the drive around the SEC next.
We are all clear of accidents now, just construction. All over the place, like usual. I-26 between Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road. That's between exits 108A and 125. I-20 between Sunset Boulevard and Bush River Road, exits 61 to 63. Broad River Road between I-26 and Dutch Fork Road. So that is where your construction spots are. And you have Bluff Road at Bluff Industrial Road. They are just improving the intersection. We'll pop back our drive around the SEC, continuing our conversation about Carolina baseball head coaching candidates. Some interesting names popping up. We'll get to that next here on the postgame show with Jay and Terry on the game.
It is Drive Around the SEC time here on a Thursday afternoon. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Again, it's SEC stuff, and I want to try to get to a cut from Nick Saban, but if not, we'll get to it tomorrow. We've just been, right before we came on the air, we had these developments with the Gamecock baseball search that maybe altered a little bit of what Terry and I were going to do today. But quite honestly, I'm not going to think that a lot of you are going to be disappointed if you don't get to hear a lot more about politics.
Oh, people love this Capitol Hill stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I actually do, but I know I'm a political junkie, so.
You're saying you're a poli-sci guy, man.
Yeah, but I'm just more fascinated by the fact that these people continue to bang their head against the wall, hoping that they're going to knock the wall down.
Right, and all you're doing is just getting a severe head injury.
Yeah, you're just being concussed.
Yeah.
You know?
They keep trying, man.
Yeah.
They do.
That wall doesn't even have a crack in it yet.
I'm not even, I'm past the point of going, well, there's a part of me that gives you credit for keeping trying. No, I don't.
No.
I don't. It's stop it.
Yeah.
All you're doing is causing blood.
The Pavlov's dog experiment.
Absolutely.
Anyway, our good friend John Whittle has also put out, as have others, but we're using John's piece today from Gamecocks 24/7 to report some other candidates. Now, he's got Oklahoma State's Josh Holliday as one. And Josh continues to lead the Cowboys into the NCAA tournament, but they haven't advanced out of the regionals in 5 or 6 years. He's got Skylar Meade on here, who, of course, spent several seasons very successfully as South Carolina's pitching coach, and he's doing well at Troy. And this year, for the first time, has the Trojans in the Super Regionals. And as fate would have it, not only did they win in Gainesville to advance into a Super, but they were paired up with the Hattiesburg Regional, and Arkansas Little Rock went down to Hattiesburg and won that one. So Troy gets to host a Super Regional. So. And Steve Sabins he still has on the list. And Steve Sabins, again, as fate would have it, instead of having to go all the way out west to play number 1 UCLA, Cal Poly, who, by the way, just real quick, Cal Poly didn't even play UCLA. St. Mary's beat them twice. UCLA, I mean.
Right.
And then Cal Poly
beat St.
Mary's.
Yeah.
So Cal Poly never even had to play the Bruins. Which is crazy.
Which is so funny in this whole thing. It's hilarious.
Go St. Mary's for getting that done for you. But anyway, so I think Skylar Meade and Steve Sabins are going to Omaha.
Yes.
And I think this other candidate is probably going, although he has a tough road because it's North Carolina hosting Southern California. But yes, John Whittle reporting that North Carolina head coach Scott Forbes is now one of those other candidates that seems to be in the mix. Now, whether or not I don't think Scott has had time to certainly meet, at least in any, and this is just me talking now, in any meaningful way with South Carolina officials, be it Jeremiah Donati or one of Jeremiah's lieutenants. It is interesting that Scott's name is on this list because back in March, he did sign an extension, or at least agree to. I think that's probably the better terminology, is that he agreed to an extension to remain at North Carolina. And as Terry has told us in looking it up with Front Office Sports, Coach Forbes is one of the highest paid coaches in the country.
Top 10.
Yeah. I mean, he's making 1.7 a year and thoroughly well-deserved.
Just signed this, agreed to an extension.
But in 6 years, he's won 248 games. They've been to the Supers. This will be the third time that he's been in the Supers, and they've already been to Omaha once. He's been the ACC Coach of the Year, and he's had a bunch of All-Americans that he's been able to coach. And remember, before that, he was the top, again, I'll use the term, lieutenant to Mike Fox in Chapel Hill. So he has spent, I think he's been at Chapel Hill since 2006. So it's been a long time that he has been on staff and kind of moved up the ranks when Chad Holbrook came to South Carolina as a top assistant, and again has been the head coach now for 6 years.
Look, give Skylar Meade credit. Timing is so important in life.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Oh, and coaching searches, guys say it. Timing is everything.
And so Skylar Meade, again, it's almost like a double-edged sword. You picked a good time to break through and possibly get to Omaha, but it could cost you a chance to be a real candidate for the South Carolina job. Just saying.
Look, I think you and I talked about it, and I've not talked to Skylar. I won't put words in his mouth or anything else. let's go hypothetical only. That's all I'm doing here, and say that Kevin Schnall, Scott Forbes, Steve Sabins all said, "Hey, I appreciate your interest in me, Jeremiah. I really do. I really, really do. And I wish the Gamecocks nothing but success. But I'm happy here. My wife's happy here. My kids are happy here. I just talked to my boss, and you know we're getting some good things done, and I appreciate it. But no thanks." Skylar Mead will say yes.
Oh, absolutely. Now I'll say this too. Like again.
Now I think one of these other guys would say yes too. So I'm just saying. So, but
I think
Skylar
Mead, you and I joked. The minute you got off the phone, he's standing in your office.
Right.
He's ready to rock and roll,
Right.
man. And look, there are people who think he is a future superstar in the coaching business. There are.
Yes.
But that being said, you and I have gone back and forth with the idea, and we agree, you got to get this right. And if you've got our guy at North Carolina, our guy at West Virginia, and Skylar, all three are, yes, we will, yes.
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to go to Forbes first.
Oh, yeah.
Saban second, and then Mead third.
I think
That's
look,
just me.
and as John Whittle pointed out, again, Scott Forbes, John said, and let me just read it so that everybody knows exactly what John said. It's going to take a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Those are John's written words. A lot
Well,
for
like
him
you
to
and I
leave
said,
North Carolina.
That a lot starts with a 2.
Yeah. And Carolina can do that. You and I,
Yes.
listen, we can go back nearly, I don't want to say a month, but we asked John Whittle, we asked David Cloninger, we asked Jack Veltri, and those are our guys when it comes to this. Is Carolina prepared, if necessary, to go to $2 million a year for their head baseball coach? And all three of them, yes.
Oh, and they didn't
They're
hesitate to say
prepared.
yes.
Now, it doesn't mean you have to,
But if
and
you
you may not even want to.
No, but if you want a guy like Forbes, the number starts with 2.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah.
And look, we're just saying his name came out. You know, and look, John Whittle's the dude, man.
Yeah.
When John gets some intel saying this guy, he's popped back on the radar. He's popped back on the radar for whatever reason. But if he's on the radar, you've got to, you know how that pings when you're watching the radar go around?
Yeah.
You got to go to the ping.
Yeah.
And see what's there.
Right.
Because he is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He really is.
So, again, let us reiterate, and especially for those of you who may be tuning in while we're discussing this, every indication from those same names I just mentioned, David Cloninger, Jack Veltri, John Whittle, Jamie Bradford, that have been following this very, very closely, every indication continues to tell us that Kevin Schnall is the number one guy.
And look, that's not to say you hire Kevin Schnall. Kevin Schnall could be phenomenal as well. We're just saying when you look at the resume of Scott Forbes,
Yeah.
a trip to Omaha, a chance to go back again this year, 2 other runs to the Supers, never missed the NCAA tournament since he's taken over that job from Fox.
Right.
This guy's resume is better than everybody else's.
Right.
That doesn't mean...
And averaging well over 40 wins
yes,
a year.
That's a dude.
Yeah.
So, and again, no disrespect to anybody else. All these other guys could do a great job. But if we're just ranking by resume, that fellow sitting at Chapel Hill is really, really
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. So, I mean, again, it's something that, again, in terms of due diligence, it's something that if there's interest there, Jeremiah has to at least explore what that looks like. And again, maybe he has already. Again, there's a lot of things you can do
Sure.
behind the scenes and with agents and others. So, but
Let's be honest, Jay. You and I have talked this before. A lot of times, because of all the things you can do behind the scenes, by the time you actually sit down,
yeah, most of the work's done.
yeah,
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So, again, all indications still point to Kevin Schnall, but it is interesting to see the names that are there. If not, perhaps is the best way to say that. We shall see. And let me repeat again. David Cloninger reporting that Kevin Schnall and South Carolina met yesterday and that they were scheduled to meet again at some point today.
there you go.
So there will likely be some details on that in some form or fashion tomorrow. So we'll have them for you here all day long. All right, even though it really was just about the Gamecocks, that officially was the drive around the SEC. We'll do Jay versus the Internet next. All right, welcome back in. Final few minutes of the postgame show here on this Thursday afternoon. Jay and Terry with you. Scott Hamilton coming your way next. He'll have more on what's going on around the Gamecocks. I wanted to get into this today. We just didn't have a chance. But it's kind of evergreen, but we will get into it. There's a push from some to get back into the BCS formula, at least using it in some way. And, again, as Terry and I like to say, and I'm serious about this. I mean, I say it with a smile on my face. But we have a solution to help with the BCS. I don't want to say it today, so don't say what we talked about.
Okay.
But I just want you all to know that in so many words, yesterday, I'll just say it. Terry and I fixed college football yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, we fixed it. They just got to
business.
Yeah. I mean, they just got to. All they got to do is take what we did and apply it, and college football is basically fixed.
Every now and then, look,
at least from a sporting, not like NIL and all that crap, but in terms of how to select teams for a playoff,
yeah, we got
and what the regular season could look like. We fixed it. We fixed it.
I think we tore our rotator cuffs, patting each other on the back.
We did, but we fixed it.
Business.
I mean, so, and I dare anybody to disagree with us once.
That's right. We dare you.
Once we tell you what it was. So there's just a tease.
That's right.
Because it's always college football season. So we will get into those things. But today, baseball became somewhat all-consuming.
It was. I mean, once we get the news we get before we jump on the air, I mean, it's go time, man. I mean, we'll see where all this where all this ends up this time tomorrow, Jay Phillips. But
and by the way, you did see that Russell Wilson did officially now retire.
Yeah.
Earlier in the week, when he said he was going to work for CBS, he had not retired, but now he made it official, I guess, last night.
Yes.
That he has retired.
Mm-hmm. Which, okay, real quick. Russell Wilson's career is kind of weird. In Seattle, he comes in, third-round pick, not asked to do a whole lot because the defense really ran that show.
Yep.
And they win a Super Bowl. Who'd they beat? I forget.
I don't remember.
I can't remember either. God, it's weird. And they win that one easy. They go back to next year, and it looks like, wow. And Russell, remember, he's starting to get a little bit more.
Should have won that one, too, by the way.
Absolutely.
Taste the rainbow. No, let's throw the ball.
It's just, and here's the thing about it. And I was going to bring this up. One throw can change so many things.
Uh-huh.
A, you go back to back. Who knows what you become? Because now you're sniffing dynasty, right? Two, what happens in New England?
Yeah.
Remember, New England had lost their last couple of Super Bowls before that.
Yeah.
Three, Russell Wilson's career.
Yeah.
You throw a touchdown pass, you're the quarterback of a back-to-back Super Bowl championship team. And we know, Jay, agree or disagree, that matters to Hall of Fame
Absolutely.
voters.
Absolutely.
So here's the interesting part. Dude threw for over 49,000 yards. The first, 7-8 years of his career were good to really good at times.
Yeah.
But basically, you made the throw that cratered a franchise, cratered a team, cratered yourself, and propped another team up all at the same time.
Well, what he should have done is just pulled a Terry Bradshaw or a Roger Staubach and just changed the play in the huddle and said, Marshawn.
Yeah.
You're going to run the 8 feet that we need to win the game, okay?
But this is what makes sports so fascinating. That one throw.
Yeah.
That one throw changed everything.
Yeah, it did.
In so many different directions.
Man. No, it's fair. And again, I still don't know why Pete Carroll. I really don't. I mean, I genuinely don't understand that. I mean, Marshawn was having a great game, had a great season, was at the top of his career. You're less than 2 yards away. Here, Marshawn.
Yeah,
and why are you throwing into that crowd? I mean, that's just, all of it was still terrible. Still terrible.
You'll get the pushback to people who try to give you the whole clock management thing and the big picture of the play calling. There's some times in life, my friend, you keep it simple.
It's football.
You don't overthink the room.
I got a hell of a tailback.
I got this dude behind me.
I got a dude.
If you can stop him,
they're good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's that simple.
But even that pass play call, that's a terrible play call.
Don't get me wrong.
That's a terrible. If you're going to do something there, that's where you run the bootleg or something.
It was a great defensive play that was made.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the play call is a head scratcher. The execution of the play is a head scratcher. Yeah. And again, that play goes different.
Taste the rainbow.
So many things go different.
Taste the rainbow.
Yeah. And the thing about it too, I read a great deep dive on that team. after it all happened, those defensive guys were salty the next preseason.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot on that team that the coaching staff was doing everything they could to prop up Russell Wilson.
Right.
Everything.
Right.
And so the defense was like, give the ball to Marshawn. Let's just give it the beast mode, and let's win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not hard.
No.
So.
I'm with you, 100%.
Was that Jay versus the internet? We have time? We have like 3 seconds.
We only got this. Ready?
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Very simple, bro.
Okay.
Tonight, do the Hurricane win at home
Yes.
against the Golden Knights? I think Carolina is going to be so desperate for a W tonight. They win tonight at home, and it goes 1-1 to Vegas.
They better.
If they go down 2-0, don't even go to Vegas.
Right.
What's the point?
Yeah, I bet you lose. Yeah, thank you.
All right, man.
A lot more on the baseball story tomorrow, but appreciate the work of David Cloninger and John Whittle for helping us out today. And we'll see what happens.
Thanks for you for listening and watching and putting up with us. We'll do it again tomorrow here on the Postgame Show. See you.
And one final word for me, and that is for our good friends at AAA Heating and Air. Roy and Dana Finley's business is booming, and they can help you out with so many things, most notably keeping your family nice and comfortable when it is hot in Columbia, South Carolina. Also, this time of year, thunderstorms are popping up, and some of those times the power goes out. They've got generators now that can really make sure you and your family still stay nice and comfortable, and all that food in the fridge doesn't spoil or anything else when you're losing the power at your house. They can also help you out with a lot of electrical things these days. So if you're in need of that, AAA is ready to help you out. But most importantly, when it's time to keep you nice and comfortable, how about a brand new system? More energy efficient, a whole lot more affordable for you too. $1,500 system buyback rebate, 15-year parts and labor guarantee, and they guarantee to get you financed. My family and I so happy with the work they've done at our house. I know you will be too. 803-677-1500. Work with my good friends at AAA Heating and Air.
All right, quick check on the traffic. We do have another accident. Wait a minute, that's really weird. That was gone and now it's back. I've never seen this in the history of doing this traffic. I haven't done it that much. The accident at I-26 eastbound that we talked about before at South Carolina 202, exit 85 to Columbia Avenue, exit 91 is back on the board. It was off, now it's back. So, again, stay out of that area. So, I guess it's not cleaned up. 2 lanes are still blocked. So, again, keep an eyeball on that. Have a good night. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll do it again tomorrow on the postgame show. Scott Hamilton's next.